get some audio going. I hope you guys can all hear me. Welcome to the stream. I'm just getting some final things put together here. Good to see some folks out there already in the stream. Let's see. We got some people out there doing some 2730 programming. That's exciting. That's good stuff. Nice. Good to see that. Let me see what I've got going here. Looks like we might be having just a little bit of slowness on the stream. Hopefully that will rectify itself here in just a minute. I've got some storms that'll be coming through the area, so hopefully that doesn't disrupt us too much. I am a Wi-Fi internet user. So when you live out here in the sticks, you only have a few options, and Wi-Fi is, believe it or not, one of the better options. However, it is susceptible to some weather issues. So, all right. Hey, Paul. Hey, check this out, Paul. Yeah, I got my Prep Ham Paul shirt on tonight. The Rag Chew crew. Glad to see you out there, Paul. All right, let's say, I want to say hi to folks out in the chat. I see some channel members out there. Bill was Mr. Early Bird. He was out there like half an hour ago. Bill must be looking for something to do. It's good to have you out there, Bill. We also had Wayne out there. Wayne was out there pretty early. Thanks for joining. A couple of our channel members here. Really appreciate that. And that some of that was courtesy of Prep Ham Paul last week. So really appreciate that as well. Let's see. Got Sean out there. Hello. Jeff Burnett. Nice to see you out there in Eastern Oregon. Nice. Hey, that's one of the things I'm hoping is that it seems like so many of the streams finish up early, that this stream is appealing for our West Coast friends. 45, boy, I don't know what you're getting yourself into. A Finnish police procedural. Say that 3 times. No thanks. Good luck there, 45. Let's see, Bradley. Nice to see you out there. Good evening. Thanks for joining. Leaf, hope that 2730 programming's going well. I'm curious if you're using the video I have out there. Yeah, we got a nice crew. Dave, KB5UTY, good to see you out there, buddy. Oh, nice. He's playing with his SAT controller, the PSR 100. Very nice. He just got the CSN SAT controller as well. So congratulations on that, Dave. Can't wait to see how that's working out for you. Yeah, this is a nice shirt for sure, for sure. Oh, let's see. What else do we got out here? I think I got most folks. Ed, good to see you out there. Andy, nice to have you here on the stream, buddy. Always great to see you, and can always count on Andy being out in the chat, so appreciate that. All right, so let's see what we got to talk about here tonight. I guess before I jump into things, I need to do my housekeeping items. Let's see what I've got here. Well, maybe we've got some new folks out there. I'm not sure, but in case that is the situation, my name is Robert, W5ITR, and I'm responsible, good, bad, or ugly, for the Digital Rancher YouTube channel here. And I'll be your host tonight. And this is the late shift. And last week, it lived up to the name. It was our inaugural stream, and we went about 5 hours, a little more than 5 hours. I'm not sure if I got that in me, but it's up to you guys. We'll see if you guys have it in you. I've got my Ghost Energy drink here, so I'm going to do my part. I'm going to try to be juiced up and ready for the long haul, if that's what everyone's after here. Yes. Oh, Mike Burks. Hey, another member. Thank you so very much. Appreciate it. It's always great to get some support for the channel. Look, I never realized how much um, time and effort it takes to put a channel together. I do this because I love it. I love ham radio, and I love bringing the aspects of ham radio that I'm passionate about to other folks, right? Especially things like satellite operation. Um, those are things that just that really get me going in the hobby. But it's really, really great to have support in doing this. It is much appreciated. Gray Man, I have to pace myself. Man, I am in it for the long haul here. We'll see. We'll see how much gumption I have in 3 hours or 4 hours. Uh, David, KB5 MIQ Big Boy, so great to have you out there in the stream, buddy. It's been too long since I've seen you in person. Looking forward to seeing you again. But it's great to have you here in the stream. But yeah, so this is the late shift, and we hang out for just as long as the chat is interested in hanging out. Like I said, we went 5 hours last week, so we'll see what we're in for tonight. Let's see. Yeah, we had a lot of fun last week, and I sent out a little synopsis. It was fun putting that thing together as a reminder for the stream tonight. Hopefully, you all are signed up for my community list, and you received that. I should probably do some of these things here. If you're not already on the community list, then we should get you on that. You should get out here to bit.tz/CL for community list, and you'll be able to get signed up, and that will result in you getting an occasional newsletter. But maybe the more important part to being on the community list is any channel giveaways that I do. They are given away based on that community list. So if you want to be in it to win it, you got to be on the list. I don't do, the channel, the chat things where people will, give away items based on who's in the chat. I do it based on who's in the community list. So today that's right around 400 people. So when I have a giveaway today, that is pretty good odds for folks. And I do plan on having a giveaway here when I hit the 5,000 mark. I'm just outside the 4,000 mark right now, just maybe about 100 away from the 4,000 mark. But at that 5,000 mark, I'm going to be giving away a ICOM IC2730. Yep, my favorite satellite radio for portable work. I'll be giving away some elk antennas. I'll be giving away some Meshtastic devices. Who knows what all will be on that prize list, but I know at least those items will be on the prize list, and you're going to want to be on that community list if you want a chance to win any of those things. All right, let's see. In addition to the community list, I've got another list out there, or another URL out there, the bitsy/dr, that will get you, it'll get you plugged into all of my merch opportunities. It'll get you plugged into all of my discount codes. So if you guys are looking for some discount codes from various Meshtastic device providers, I've got a bunch of those out there. A few other odds and ends are out there. And then I also list some of my favorite Amazon items out there on that list as well. So that's always a good thing to check out. Those rotate on occasion. And yeah, so you want to check that out. And of course, as I already mentioned, we've got channel memberships. We've got all the supers turned on, all that type of thing. So if the mood strikes you and you're able, that type of thing is always appreciated. All right, let's see what else I've got here. Hey, in addition to tonight, I'm also going to be streaming on Sunday. So Jason, Ham Radio 2.0, who we're going to chat about a little bit more later in the show, it's one of the reasons I got his hat on here, he is not going to be streaming Sunday night. So Frank of Tank Radio is going to be taking his 7 o'clock slot, which means I'm taking his 6 o'clock slot. Say that 3 times real quick. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do in that slot just yet, in just a couple of days, but maybe we can chat about that and see what everyone is. Maybe you guys have some ideas, right? Maybe you guys can give me an idea of what you'd like to see in a stream on Sunday at 6 p.m. All right, let's see what else I've got here. We talked about all those things. I think we're good there. Talked about the community list. We're good. I'm just running through my list here real quick. Okay, I think that's it. Let me just check and see if we've got any new folks out there. Brian, welcome. That's KJ5MLL. Hello and welcome. Howdy, Kelly. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining the stream. Jordan, nice to see you out there. Thanks for joining. All right, very good. Okay, I think we're ready to jump into the program here. All righty, we're going to jump into a segment that I like to call it This and That. We'll call this and that. And there we go. Nope, that's the wrong one. Come on, Rob. Let's get the right one out there. There we go. This and that. And these are just things that I've found throughout the week on the internet that I think are pretty cool. Things that deserve a mention or an extra share. So the first one I want to call out here is a note that I saw from the ARDC. And if you guys don't know who the ARDC is, you really should look these guys up. They do a lot of great stuff for amateur radio. One of the things that they do, they have a service called the 44net, and it is the 44th anniversary of 44net. So what's 44net? So 44net is a /8 network, 44.0.0.0, right? What we used to call an old Class A network. It is a /8 network where they will provide public IP addresses to hams. You got to have a call sign. This is for hams who need an internet presence. And they are very liberal in terms of what you might want to use that for, as long as it is ham radio related. And, it's, they've got, 16 million addresses, I think is what you get in a /8. Now they've sold some of those. They've sold a bunch of those to folks like Amazon and maybe some other folks. I'm not sure exactly, but they've sold a bunch of those, and they've created a fund to help fund amateur radio projects as well. So ARDC is really a great group. Here, let's just take a quick look at this here. I think this is pretty cool. For those of you who just may not be aware, I'm hoping everybody's aware, and this is old news for everybody. But they've got out on their website, you can learn all about them. You can go out here, you can apply for a grant. We have lots of friends in the YouTube community of folks who have successfully applied for and received grants through the ARDC. But, what I want to talk about here is this 44net here. And they talk a little bit about that block of IP addresses that they have. But you can go through a process here, and you just got to make a request, right? You just go in here and you request an address or a block of addresses, and You just provide a little information and boom, they'll get you set up with some public IP addresses that you can use on the internet. So really fantastic service there. Pretty cool stuff. All right. Let's see. I'm curious. Are most of you folks familiar with the ARDC? Is everyone here kind of know what the 44 net's all about? I know we've got Ham Radio Tectonics out there. We've got Bill out there. I know he knows what it's all about. I know he is one of the users of the 44 net. Let's see who else we've got out there. It is still a Class A. They still call it a Class A, Gray Man. I thought they kind of did away with some of that nomenclature, but maybe they don't. Yeah, I thought you might like that 45. Yeah, so Lucas, it's really cool. If you ever need to put, you want to put a website on the internet and you don't want to pay your ISP to rent an IP address, right? You can reach out to the ARDC and they'll give you one so that you can host your website. You want to set up a VPN gateway that you use when you're on the road. They'll give you an IP address for that. So it's really pretty cool. So what's Bill say there? I have the 44 net IP on my cell modem and their VPN. Yeah. So it's just another benefit and service that you get with your license, right? Like I said, you got to be a licensed ham. You just reach out to the ARDC. They're very liberal in what they will support. They want to get these addresses out there. They want hams to be experimenting on the internet. They want to give you these resources. So it's really great stuff. All right. I think we'll go ahead and we'll move on from that. Let's see. Next up, what do I got to talk about here? EIR Sat1. This, I really like this picture. It was actually posted. I think I grabbed it out of X by EI7GL. And I think he took it down and maybe replaced it with a different one, but I like this one better. Simply because it had the dates on it as well. I believe he took it down because this was a 2U CubeSat, not a 1U CubeSat like he depicts in the picture here, but this just deorbited this week. Now, we've got satellites that are deorbiting all the time, and this did have a ham radio. This did have a ham radio aspect to it. It didn't have a voice transponder on it, but it did. You could download and grab the telemetry. Let me see here. Let me just share. There's something really interesting about this, though. At least I thought it was interesting. So, generally when these things go up, they don't just go up for the sake of ham radio. They usually have some science projects on them. They're doing some sort of research. And that was certainly the case with this one. And it was up for about 2 years, just came down a week, just this past week. But what I thought was really cool on it, and this is put out by UCD Dublin. This is a University College Dublin in Ireland. It was, let's go ahead and take a look, give the team a little credit here. These are all students at one level or another. You've got some PhD students in here, postdoctoral students. You've got all kinds of levels here. But this was the country's first ever satellite. So I thought that was pretty cool. So that caught my eye. But here's the other thing that really caught my eye. And again, this is from EI7GL, and he's got a blogspot space out there. And this is really a great blog. So if you guys are not familiar with this, I wasn't familiar with it. I just came across it whenever I was learning about this satellite. But he's got some great information out there. It's certainly worth checking out. But what I thought was so cool about this is they have this experimental wave-based control system. That's what they're talking about right here. And so they've got these, whatever the heck these are, magnetorquers, right? That sounds pretty techy. They've got these magnetorquers that can, look at this, they can push against the Earth's magnetic field. So when they have this thing up and orbiting the Earth, they can control these magnetorquers and they can change the attitude of the satellite by pushing against the Earth's magnetic field. How freaking cool is that? I had never heard of anything like that. It turns out this was, something they developed. It was an experimental control system that they developed, and it worked. It worked pretty well. So I thought that was just pretty doggone cool, and I wanted to share that with you guys. All right. Let's see what else I've got for you here tonight. Okay. Next up, we got some sad news here tonight. And, this is fairly relevant. I was actually just having a conversation with Chris Bricker and some others very recently here about Bamatech. We were talking about Bamatech. And, the unfortunate news here is that Marcus, DL6YYM, who was the owner of Bamatech, he passed away this past week. He became a silent key. And this is a German company. You can tell by the DL call sign there. But, he was a really well-regarded maker of high-quality keys. Some other ham-related items as well, but he was, well known for his keys. He became a silent key this past week. And the other unfortunate news here is that the company is planning to close up shop. So that is like a double whammy here. Let me just bring up this website here. Here they put a little notice. And this is the Bamatech 2. This is the 3. That's the one that everyone's really gaga over. But, they put a little notice up here that they're going to sell the remaining inventory, and then they're going to shut down the business. So that was really, really disappointing to hear. It's a shame to hear that we're going to lose a great company in this manner. So let's see what we've got here. We had some more folks join here. I just want to do some more shout outs real quick. Del Fargus, thanks for joining. I appreciate that. Nice to see you. Oh, let's see here. Jeff, nice to see you out in the chat. Eric, good to have you in the chat. Nice to see everybody out there. Thanks for joining, folks. But yeah, so these were really, really highly regarded. And like I said, these are the ones that are really, that I thought were pretty cool, were the Bamakey TP3. The 2s are pretty cool as well. These are quite a bit larger. These are about half the size. So they do have some remaining inventory. They are going to sell out the inventory, but there's another whammy here, right? And it's right here. So DHL, who is their shipper, has suspended shipments to the U.S., right, due to some of the uncertainties around tariffs. So right now, we can't even get our hands on any of this remaining inventory, which is just such a shame, right? The whole U.S. market is kind of blocked out of that right now. Hopefully, if that's something you're after, Chris, I don't know, I haven't seen you in the chat yet, but if that's something you're after, you got to find a different way to get that. Maybe have it sent to one of your buddies or something, and maybe you can get one that way. But just a real shame. Yeah, I was really sorry to see that. All right. Let's try to keep things moving here. We don't want to dwell too long here on bad news. All right, let's see what we got up next. Just a couple of items here. That's what we want. That's not what we want. That's what we want. Here we go. Okay, let's see here. Next thing I've got on the list, Jason, Ham Radio 2.0, and his 30 days of ham radio. I don't know if you guys are up to speed on this yet, so I just wanted to take a moment and talk about it. First of all, I don't know what the guy is thinking. Well, I know what he's thinking, but boy, I don't know if everybody realizes what he has signed up for here. Cranking out a video every single day for 30 days, highlighting 30 different things that you can do in ham radio is a great idea. Well, boy, you want to talk about a pile of work. He's signed up for it though. And I know Jason, he's gonna pull it out. One of the reasons why he did sign up for it is this is in support of the ARRL's Teachers Institute. And so he has a plan, and you guys will have to go out and start watching some of these videos. He talks about that plan where, he's collecting donations. Here, we can show that donation site here real quick. He's collecting donations, but he's also planning on making donations of his own that are based on the number of views and subscribers that he gets to these various videos. So he's taken the challenge, but he's also challenging us to watch and subscribe and to donate as well. If you go out to the ARRL.org/30days URL, you will come to this website right here. And looks like to date so far, here, let me just hit a refresh. Make sure we've got the most up-to-date information. And looks like we do. He has raised $1,645, and he's just, 5 days into the month here. So this is the place where you donate, right? So if you want to come in, you can donate. They've got a form here that you can fill out to make it easy. You can do it as a gift dedicated to someone else in memorial, maybe. And then you can also do this as a recurring gift. And there's also an opportunity here for folks, if their employer does a match, as this is a registered charity, right? So it qualifies as a registered charity, and a lot of companies they've got a donation or a matching type of opportunity. I know ours does. I'm actually looking into that. I'm going to donate to this as well. So, good on Jason for taking this on. Man, he signed up for it. This is going to be a ton of work, but if anyone can pull it off, Jason can certainly pull it off. All right, let me get my chat here. I lost my chat. There we are. All right, let's see. Smash that like a cockroach. Hey, I like the sounds of that. Appreciate that, Jeff. All right, let's see. Gray Man, you've got a TP2. Very nice. I didn't know you had one of those. I know that Kyle had picked up a couple of those in a deal that he got at Hamvention. It was at Hamvention last year. Very nice. Let's see. Vern. Hey, man. Good to see you out there. Thanks for joining the stream. Any other new folks out there? Nightcry, thanks for joining. Appreciate you jumping in and spending a little bit of time with us. All right. Vern, is your better half with you tonight? If so, tell Renee I said hello, please. Gray Man says it's an art piece. Yeah, those things are really, really nice. Super nice, super nice. All right, let's see here. Ooh, let's keep her going. Let's see what I've got up next for us. All right, so this here is for my buddy Paul. We're going to talk about this tonight a little bit. Paul, that's why I've got your shirt on, buddy. We're going to talk here about National Preparedness Month. So September is National Preparedness Month, and we're going to maybe talk about this a little differently than some others might. What I want to do is I want to go out to the Ready.gov website. They've got a ton of resources out there that I didn't know existed. And we're going to go through some of those resources together and see what we think of that. It's they've got everything out there from building communication plans to building kits for preparedness. So I think this will be a fun thing to walk through and investigate. All right. Very good. All right. I got one more thing. This is just fun for you guys. Have you ever like put something out there into the internet, out into the ether, and then immediately wish you hadn't? I am sure that is the way this poor fella, Sean Lowry, feels. I I don't know if you guys have seen this on X. I think it originated on Facebook. I'm not a Facebook guy, but this doesn't look like any other platform that I use, so I'm guessing this is Facebook. And this was in response to the announcement that that Space Force headquarters was going to be, or is going to be, based in Huntsville, Alabama. And so this guy made a comment on that post saying, yeah, Alabama, that's where I'd go to find some rocket scientists. Well, per capita, there's probably more rocket scientists in Rocket City than anywhere else in the country. And you can believe people let them hear it. Like I said, this is probably the nicest response that this poor guy got. He just got hammered. So that was just a little chuckle. I thought you guys might enjoy that. All right, let's see. Let's get back to full screen. Okay, let's see. What else we got here? Looks like, oh, good. Renee's out in the chat. Nice to have you in the chat, Renee. Let's see. Did I miss anybody? I think I've got everybody. Oh, I see Rob KB6JFL. Hello, welcome. Good to have you here. Hey, I think we're getting a pretty decent size group here. Let me take a peek and see how we're doing. Well, we got just a little over 30 viewers, maybe. Very good. That is awesome. Like I said, it's my plan to stick around just as long as you guys want to stick around. So that's the plan for tonight. Okay, looks like so far the internet's holding out too. That's always a question mark as well. Okay, let me just get caught up here. Oh, awesome. You guys are at Wilhelmina. Very nice. Oh, awesome. I'm glad you guys were able to get things worked out. I saw, Vern, where you were trying to find a spot up there, or looking to upgrade your spot, maybe is a better way of saying it. Hope that's all worked out good for you guys. I know you guys really enjoy going up to that ham fest. I've got to find a way to get up there at some point. Maybe when I get fewer goats, that'll be a little bit easier for me. All right, so let me see here. We're going to talk about this Ready.gov site. And this is the site that I'm talking about here. So they've got all kinds of resources out here And I want to walk through some of these here, and I'm kind of curious. I've never used this site. I think I've heard of it. I think, I wouldn't be surprised if Josh and Leah hadn't talked about it at some point on their podcast. Maybe that's where I heard about it, but I got one of my alerts popped somewhere that included this Ready.gov site. Now, September is always Preparedness Month, right? National Preparedness Month. And there's, a number of things that I do as part of Preparedness Month in September that is just kind of just an annual thing. And, I don't have a kind of rigorous preparedness schedule. I probably could do much better. I need to watch more Prep Ham Paul's stuff to be even better prepared. But, there are some things that I do every year in September, and that's always kind of the trigger for me to think about it and do those things. And I think it's especially interesting that this year, the tagline for National Preparedness Month is "Preparedness starts at home," which I think is just a fantastic tagline. I don't recall ever seeing any of their taglines before, but if you ask me, this one's a home run. The types of things that this always triggers me to do are, fairly mundane things, but things that, they need done. It's things like replacing your smoke detector, your carbon monoxide detector batteries, right? Checking those batteries, replacing those batteries. I use it as a trigger to check a lot of my kits. What do I mean by kits? Well, I've got just a ton of these types of things, right? And, I've added this thing fairly recently. I mean, I've got just tons and tons of these things, and they're all kind of built out for different purposes. A lot of these kits, they have consumables in them. Like this one here. I don't know if I can show this without dumping it, but this is one of my travel kits. And in this travel kit, I've got my pine sill soldering iron, some solder, some soldering paste, kind of everything I need to do field repairs. Well, February, I think it was Winter Field Day. We were doing some field day repairs for Frank, and we used, some of this soldering paste to do the repair. And Mike K at MRD commented on me having, that little thing of solder paste, and I buy them by like, I don't know, you get like 6 or 10. I can't remember how many you get in a kit. But I have a bunch of them laying around here. So I just gave them that when I said, hey, put this in your kit. But I hadn't thought about replacing that whenever I got home. But September comes around, I start to check those kits, and then I can replace those consumables, right? So, I had an opportunity, I guess that's one way of putting it, of using some of the Band-Aids at Huntsville out of this EDC pack at one point whenever Kyle cut his finger. I hadn't replaced those Band-Aids. So it's just kind of a trigger to remember to do some of those different things. Now there's, some bigger items that I'll check as well, right? Some of those, we'll call them critical stores around the house. I won't go, I'll let your imagination go there on what some of those might be. But, you need to check those things out and, make sure you're in a good position with those things at least once a year. So it's a great reminder. All right. So we're going to see though what Ready.gov has for us, right? What's our government telling us about preparedness. So first of all, let's see, they've got this make a plan thing. So they've got, build a kit. That sounds pretty good. Low cost preparedness. That sounds good. And they go in all different directions here, right? Financial preparedness, getting tech ready. They've got all kinds of different topics here, which I think is just fantastic, right? This can go in so many different directions. They also have a bunch of resources out here that I thought was pretty interesting. They've got PSAs and videos, and they've got that graphic that I use, right? They've got all kinds of assets that you can use in various ways to promote readiness yourself, right? To promote it in your community, promote it maybe in your ham club, whatever. But I was pretty impressed with that. But let's just take a look. I think it'd be interesting to see what the government says we should have on hand in terms of being prepared. And so here, let's see, we've got a basic disaster supplies kit. What do they got here? Water. Yeah, that should always be high on the list. How are they talking about water? 1 gallon per person per day for several days for drinking and sanitation. Okay. I think maybe it could be a little more prescriptive there, but that's not bad. That's a place to start. Let's see. Battery power, a hand crank radio. That's a great thing. It's nice to see that high on the list. Right, food, several day, non-perishable. These look like links. Let's see what else they have to say about water. This is such an important item, but it's also it's difficult when you go beyond kind of basic water storage, right? When you go beyond having a few cases of water in the garage, you have to really start planning, right? So I'm really curious to see what they talk about this. Let's see. Talk about rationing water storage. Let's see. Okay, water treatment, talking about boiling it. That's good. Chlorination, distillation. I'm curious here. There's a lot of, distillation has a lot of positive properties, but it also has some negative properties. They don't seem to go into that too much. Let's see. Yeah, see, it's got some of these very positive properties, but there's also some negative aspects of distilling water as your only water source. Let's see here. Let me catch up with the chat a little bit. Yeah, rotate those gas cans for sure. I saw Bill. What did Bill? Freedom seeds. There you go. That's exactly, those are critical stores. Freedom seeds. Good call out there, Bill. Good call out there. What else do we got out here? Brant, thanks for joining the stream. Thanks for the support there, buddy. Hit the like button. Hit that thumbs up. Appreciate that. Leaky batteries. Yeah, batteries are a problem, right? It's one thing when your batteries are dead. It's another thing when your battery ruins your electronics. Yeah, Gray Man, you got it. Your Freedom seed dispenser. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Nightcry, you've got a good list there for sure. Yeah, very good. Good point, EOD. Trying to do that when the pressure's on does not sound like a great idea, right? That's just good advice for so many different things. Don't wait until you need it. Do it beforehand. All right, let's see what else. So they've got some good stuff in here. They still don't, I'm curious, do any of you guys have any large water storage facilities? I mean, when we had the Snowmageddon thing here, water is one of those things that was a struggle, right? We had a lot of frozen pipes here in Texas. We had a lot of people without water for a lot of days. We had a lot of, we didn't even have plumbing supplies to fix plumbing issues. Yeah, good point, Vern. Yep. Lubed and clean. Yeah. I mean, hopefully you're cleaning it more than once a year, but once a year at the minimum, for sure. Same with your knives. It's a good time to sharpen your knives and make sure that your knives are in good shape as well. So let's see. Bill says 1 gallon of water per person per day for survival and basic minimum hygiene. Yeah, that's the same. That's the same kind of guidance we've got here. But again, I'm curious how people are going beyond cases of water, right? Are people using some water storage containers, some large water storage containers? Those things take up a lot of room. They're hard to move, all that stuff. 4 50-gallon barrels, stay full, cleaned and cycled. Nice. That is fantastic. Yeah, Paul, he's got a similar situation. So you treat those once a year, Paul. I'm curious if you do any rotation there. Eric's just going to get a fresh cup when he needs it. There you go. Okay, good stuff. Good stuff there. Yeah, this is an area where I could certainly improve my situation. Right? We always have several cases of water, but taking that next step that's a big deal, right? To go to that next step. Let's see what they're saying about food here real quick. Food supplies, okay. Non-perishables, yep. This here, I think, is underrated, right? Food your family will eat. Sure, you can say if you're hungry enough, you'll eat anything. But, we're not, in most cases, talking about, end times here. We're talking more about extended outages. So, you might as well have stuff on hand that folks want to eat and will eat. Yeah, special dietary needs, not only dietary needs, but prescription needs, right? That's a thing that, fortunately, right now I'm not in that camp yet, right? That's seems like an inevitable type of situation, but I'm not there yet. Let's see what else they've got here. Yep. Canned stuff, dry stuff. It's all good. Peanut butter. It's a great item. Dried fruits. And I've got a vacuum sealer. I've got a pretty large vacuum sealer that I use, buying stuff in bulk, especially dried fruits and nuts. Also, trying to think what else we've got down there. A lot of dried fruit things, fruit items. Also, beans, right? So like, you think dried beans aren't going to go bad. Well, it takes a while for them to go bad, but if you vacuum seal them, they'll certainly last a lot longer. You guys, are you guys vacuum sealers out there? Let's see. There's water for garden. Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, getting a rain catchment system, I think, is also a great idea, right? For all those other water needs, things like the toilet, things like maybe your animals. Let's see, we're still talking water mostly here. Snickers is all you need. There you go, Eric. Big old case of Snickers. Some Sawyer water kits. Yeah, those are good. Certainly. Vacuum sealer. Yeah, I really like the vacuum sealer thing. I also have a dehydrator. And so I'll dehydrate I'll dehydrate some foods myself. Certainly when I have a garden, I'll dehydrate some of those things from the garden and then vacuum seal them for long-term storage. So I really like doing that as well. Vacuum seal meats when they're on sale. Yep, for sure. Dehydrator and freeze dryer. Yeah, Paul, I remember at Winter Field Day, you brought some of those freeze-dried, I think they were Skittles or something, some various snacks, some Werthers and some different things. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I've never went down that path, but I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Certainly for things like eggs, right? If you've got your own chickens and, most people can't keep up with eggs once they start down that path, right? They get more eggs than they can handle. But, I understand eggs freeze dry really, really well. Yeah, vacuum sealing everything. Yeah, yep, for sure. You got to watch out for the bugs. Okay. Good stuff. Okay, so let's see what they've got in their do's and don'ts. Keep things in containers. Yeah, these seem like pretty straightforward, basic suggestions here. Yeah, so don't leave those funky cans alone. That's good, right? The last thing you want to do is get sick whenever you're in a bad spot. Okay, that all looks good. Managing food without power. Dry ice. I'm not real sure where people are able to just get dry ice at a moment's notice. Sounds like a great idea. I just don't know how practical that is. Well, let's see, 25 pounds of dry ice will keep a 10 cubic foot freezer below freezing for 3 to 4 days. Yeah, but where do you get that? Is anybody here a dry ice user? Where in the heck do you even get dry ice? Yeah, I'm curious. I'll see if anybody has experience with dry ice. I mean, it sounds great. I just don't know how practical it is. All right, let's go beyond food. Let's see what else we've got here. So here's your NOAA weather radio. That's a good idea. Obviously, you got your flashlight, your first aid kit, your batteries. This is all good stuff. A whistle, fantastic. All right, this is a good list here. This is a great place to start. I'm really pretty happy to see what they've got here. Manual can opener, yep. Local maps, that's interesting, right? Maybe you don't know the area as well as you think you do. Get some local maps, paper maps. Some backup batteries, that's all good. Okay, additional emergency supplies. Let's see if anyone here has... You can get it at some grocery stores. Huh. Yeah, that's interesting. I guess, you better have a freezer, first of all, or you got to have, I guess, maybe if you had some big Yeti coolers or something, that would work. Yeah, I'm going to have to learn a little bit more about the dry ice thing. But yeah, so all of these other items, I think these are all very straightforward. This is a great place to start, right? I think this is a good list. Waterproof, matches in a waterproof container. Yep. Your personal hygiene items. Yep. Got to have some way to keep the young ones entertained. Okay. Yeah. So this is, I mean, it's all pretty basic stuff, but I think it's all pretty good. Let's see, additional resources, tips for medications. Let's see what this is about. We got them in all different languages here. Let's see what are they talking? Keep a list. Yeah, have a cooler, right? You've got your refrigerated drugs that you need to manage. Yeah, so this is all pretty good stuff. Okay. I think that's all pretty good. All right, let's see what else we've got here. Car safety. Emergency kit for the car, right? This is good. Jumper cables, flares. Yeah, this is good. You can find these kits with these reflective triangles, right, in a nice little package. That's, stow away to practically nothing. These are good ideas, right? These are probably better than the flares. Obviously renewable, all the rest of that stuff. They're not going to burn out on you. Let me see what else we've got cooking here in the chat. Got to be close to a big city for dry ice. Yeah, Brant, I can't recall seeing dry ice anywhere out here where I am. So maybe that is, something that's available closer in town. A stack of 300 amp hour batteries and inverters for your freezer. That's not a bad idea. The price of batteries continues to drop. It's really crazy. There's really no reason to not have some larger capacity batteries on hand. Now, keep in mind, if you get those larger capacity batteries, you're going to need a larger capacity charger, or else you'll be waiting all day for those things, days and days for those things to get charged. Yes, goats. Goats are good for emergencies. I agree. I concur. H-E-B and Walmart have dry ice. Man, I'm going to have to look into that. See, Eric doesn't have a car right now. He's maybe getting a bike. Yeah, there you go. A bicycle emergency kit. Get some panniers on that bike or something. But yeah, this is pretty straightforward stuff here, right? I think this is a good list. Now, something else that I don't do it anymore, but we used to, and maybe the Texas thing, maybe the heat in Texas is why I've not tried it. But growing up in Western Pennsylvania, one of the things we always had in the in our car kit was some candles, some tea candles. Those little candles that they use for like warmers, and I'm not even sure what all you use them for. But those little candles in a car can really improve the temperature, right? Way more than you would expect. Way better, it has a much bigger impact than you would expect. Now, of course, you better crack the window a little bit as well. But I don't know if that's the type of thing that people do these days. Like I said, we did that growing up. I just thought of that. I hadn't thought of that for years. I like the cemetery candles from Dollar Tree. I lived in Buffalo, New York for a while as well, and it was not uncommon. It seemed like once a year there would be just, a ridiculous snowfall that would close down I-90. And there would be cars stranded on I-90 between Buffalo and Rochester. Is N2MAK in here? He's a Rochester boy. I'm sure he knows all about this. But I had a buddy that I worked with who was in that situation. He was caught on I-90. They shut it down, and there were dozens and dozens of cars that were stranded there for 2 days. And he had those little tea candles, and, when the sun would go down and you didn't get any more warmth from the sun. And, meanwhile, this is January and your daylight hours are not very many to begin with. He would light those candles just to kind of take the edge off. Yeah, and I think that's a good point, Paul, right? I think that's maybe a distraction that you can use a little bit with the kids if you're in that scenario as well. 35 BTUs. That's interesting, Eric. I didn't know that. All right, so let's see. So we've got, some basic things. I would also add in here some things that I have in the truck. Some spare fuses, right? That are for your vehicle. That's something that I always have in there. Now my truck, I've got one truck that's a little bit older, so I also have some extra things in there. I've got a gallon of antifreeze that I keep in the truck. I've got, now they have like gloves. They don't talk about gloves, right? Have a couple pair of gloves in this kit as well. But I'll have maybe a quart of oil for the truck. I'll have some antifreeze. I have a gallon of antifreeze that I keep in that truck. Just some of those things. Right now, if you've got a brand new vehicle, maybe you don't need those things, but and I don't have those things in my new truck. I have them in my older truck, but just something to think about. Yeah, those battery jump start devices, that's kind of the new wave, right? That's, I think jumper cables are good to have, but having one of those battery boxes is even better, right? Then you don't need somebody else to help you. You can be self-sufficient. Those things are pretty good. Now, right, thinking about checking things, if you're going that route and you have one of those, you got to make sure that you stay on top of that battery, right? There's nothing worse than expecting to use that thing. You pull it out and there's not enough juice to get it turned over. Well, Gray Man, that's kind of what I was waiting for here, right? To see if there was any mention of any type of two-way radio. Now, I kind of expected to maybe see an FRS radio or something in here before I expected to see something on the ham bands, right? Something that anybody can use, that everybody can use. But, that feels like a fail here. There's no mention of any type of communication device other than, they mention making sure you have a cell phone charger, whatever. But, I'm preaching to the choir here, right? You guys all know the deal there. There's no guarantee that you're going to have cell coverage. So I think that is a big miss on this list. And that's what I was really curious to see is, do they go down that route? Do they touch on that at all? And, here it does not appear they do. Now, the other thing, right? We've got a bunch of folks in the chat here that I'm sure feel the same way, right? Why not have a Meshtastic device in there as well, right? You can have something very small. Oh, speaking of very small, so those of you who are members of the channel, you probably saw a post. This came in this week. So this is one of those Elecros. Let me try to get a little closer here. I haven't even taken the thing off the screen yet, the little plastic. But this is an Elecro ThinkNode M1. And this is, each of these things has an interesting aspect to it. They all do basically the same thing, but it's the implementation that I think is always interesting to see. First of all, I like this little stubby antenna. It'll be interesting to see how this performs. Right now, the only thing I'm doing on this is a battery test. And I'm not going to go too far afield here, but just to give you guys a little bit of a little sense of this thing if you're not familiar with it. So it's got this interesting stubby little antenna. It's also got a control here for a backlight on that e-ink display. So I want to make sure you guys can see that. That's an e-ink display. And it's backlit, though. Again, I'm doing a battery test, so I don't want to change the level of the backlight. I've got the backlight turned off. But it's got a backlit e-ink display, which I think is pretty cool. But the other thing that I think is really interesting, well, it's USB-C, right? I think everyone's kind of got the point at this stage. That's kind of mandatory these days. The other thing that's really interesting, make sure I don't drop it. So you guys can see it's got a couple buttons on it, but it's also got a switch. Now that's not an on-off switch there. Well, it's not a radio on-off switch. This little control up on top that allows you to change the backlight on the e-ink display is also an on-off switch. But that is a GPS switch. So depending on your circumstance, you can choose to turn the GPS off, which in theory should extend your battery life. You know what? Let's see if I've got this. Let's see if this is working here real quick. Let's see here. So I did a little work after last week's stream. I did a little work on some of the bones of the stream here. Hopefully the audio is better for everyone. I know we had some issues with that. I created some additional scenes as well. And let's see here. I've got a scene here for sharing my my phone. And so if we go in here and take a peek at this. So I've had this running for about 2.5 days at this point. And 2.5 days and I'm still, I'm just below, I'm at 72% on battery life right now. So now, again, I've got this set where there's no backlight, the GPS is off, and I'm not sending any traffic to it. That's the other thing, right? This is just straight up pure battery test. I want to see how long this thing will run on its own. So anyhow, I'll be chatting some more about that at a later date. Let me get back to the list here. I got distracted. It's easy for me to get distracted with those Meshtastic devices. But you know, that's a small device. And there are much smaller ones, right? Our friends at Seed have the Xiao. That's super small. Gosh, you could throw that thing in the glove box. You could throw it in the console and, you know, power it up, plug it into the USB-C in the vehicle if you need to. Now, of course, that's going to work better in some places than other. Here in Wise County, where I'm at in Texas, that's going to work pretty well just because we've got a really strong Meshtastic infrastructure in our county, right? It covers the entire county plus. So I know there are other places where that's not going to help you at all, right? But it's another option. It's an option that's very easy, cheap and easy to throw in the vehicle and have available if that's something that has taken off in your area. Let's see what I missed here in the chat. Hot hands. Oh, I didn't see that prior. Gray man. That's a great one. Having some chemical heating sources, right? Those things don't take up much space. Those are great to have. Let's see, a mini 12-volt air compressor for the car. Yep, that's certainly handy. I know a lot of the off-road vehicles have something a little beefier than that, right? Part of the game there is airing down your tires when you're going off-road, and you need to air them back up whenever you go on-road. So, but there are, there are more mundane options there for sure. Let's see what else we've got here. Yeah, there is a new node all the time, certainly, Eric. And like I said, at the end of the day, they all pretty much do the same thing. It's really the implementation, right? Find an implementation that works for you, and run with it. The other thing that's so nice is that the manufactured solutions, right? The ones that are plug and play, ready to go, keep getting better, keep getting cheaper. This one actually has, coming back to this for just a second, right? It actually has an injection molded case. And it's IP rated, but I think it's like IP 56 or something like that. I don't remember right off the top of my head, but it also comes like with some grommets and stuff, for when you attach the antenna. So, but yeah, they come out all the time. Jeff, this is the ThinkNode M1. I think they're around $50 is the price tag on these things. Like I said, I'm going to do a full review on it. I'm just doing some basic tests with it right now. Let's say save the MRE heaters. Yeah, there you go, Gray Man. You've got the good compressors there. All right. All right, so that's let's see what else we've got here. They're talking about checking. Yeah, this is another good time, right, to add this to your checklist. September, it's coming into winter time. So I think it makes a lot of sense, right? Check your wiper blades, check your antifreeze levels, check all your levels under the hood. Certainly. Replace your fuel filters, air filters, all those types of things. Right now, some of you may be doing some of that as part of your oil change regimen as well. But it's having that on the calendar to do in September is not a bad idea. Yeah, keep your gas tank full. This is, I'm curious, is this something you guys do? I remember when I was, much younger, I mean, I don't know that I ever had a full tank of gas. I was always scraping together. Well, and this goes back to where, gas was less than $1 a gallon, right? You would scrape together a few bucks to go out on a Friday night. You'd actually, get the change from underneath the seat in the car, raid the console. You could do that, right? You could end up getting 2-3 gallons of gas. But these days, I'm like, if I get below a quarter of tank, certainly if I get to a half a tank, I start twitching. It's like, gosh, I got to stop and get gas. It's funny how your perspective changes. Helps, the bank account level helps a little bit too, right? When you're a 16-year-old kid, you don't have a lot of cash. So, yep, I'm with you, Paul. Man, if I hit a half a tank, I'm not liking it. I don't go to bed with less than 3. Yeah, that's kind of my comfort zone, right? If I'm at a quarter tank, I'm okay. But boy, if I get down to that half a tank level, I'm not comfortable. That's funny. Yeah, interesting how all that stuff changes. All right, let me just check and see how we're doing here. Let's see, we've got We still have 26 people out there hanging out. Let's see, we're over an hour into the stream. So congratulations, folks. You've made it past the hour mark. And yeah, seems to be, the stream seems to be holding up okay. So I'm glad to see that. I was really worried when I saw some of the weather reports. I saw some of the stuff coming across Oklahoma up there and was not looking great. Jeff, hey man, thanks for joining. Thanks for becoming a member of the channel. That's awesome. Very much appreciated. Now, I don't think I did mention this earlier. So in addition to having a YouTube membership, I also have a Buy Me a Coffee membership. But if you join the YouTube membership, then you automatically get access at the same level to Buy Me a Coffee. So for you folks who have joined the membership ranks here, now, last week I said at the end of the stream, I'll go out there and set that up for you because that's manual. It's not anything I have automated. I've got to go do that myself. At 2:00 in the morning, I'm not going to kid you, I went to bed. I didn't go set that up. I set it up in the morning. So for you folks that have joined tonight, I'll set that up in the morning. But you'll be able to get access to any articles or other information that I put out there in Buy Me a Coffee. So I thank you for that, Jeff. I appreciate it, buddy. All right, let's see. Did I miss anything else here? Ooh, a siphon hose. I've got one of those in my shed, but I do not have one in my truck. Interesting. Paul, do you keep that with you or you keep it handy? Gotcha. Okay. All right. Let's see. Anything else out here that's interesting? Yeah, check your tires. Good time to check your tires, right? Now here's something interesting. You know, different states have different requirements in terms of inspections, vehicle inspections. Here in Texas, different counties have different requirements. And I'm in Wise County, which last year they did away with their vehicle inspection requirements. Well, let me take that back. You're still required to make sure your vehicle is in good running order. They've just removed the requirement of having that done by a third party on an annual basis. So, you know, I think I'm all for that. First of all, you know, I think that should be a personal responsibility thing. I understand why it has not been in the past, and I am a little worried about how that, you know, may manifest itself over time. You know, I mentioned I grew up in Pennsylvania. I grew up in Western Pennsylvania, and I was pretty close to the Ohio border. And in Pennsylvania, you had to get your car inspected every year. In Ohio, and maybe it's still the same, but back in those days, you did not have to get your vehicle inspected in Ohio. And it was remarkable. You could, like, as soon as you crossed state lines, you would start seeing some pretty shaggy looking vehicles out there on the highway. So, I mean, you'd see, you know, fenders flopping in the wind and, you know, some of that kind of crazy stuff, right? Where they had kind of rusted through the point where they, you know, connected to the rest of the vehicle and those types of things. So hopefully we're not going to have those situations. Only like 4 Texas counties require emissions. Yeah, we don't require emissions, which is another good thing, in my eyes. You're not required to have emissions checked. Yeah. Let's see. Paul's still working on his bag for his new truck. Yep. I'm in the process of doing that as well. I'm actually going to be using one of these items in the console of the truck. That's going to be how I'm going to organize some of that stuff that generally gets tossed around and, just rolls around, makes noise, gets lost, gets broken in the truck. I'm going to use one of those Maxpedition Platies to keep some of that stuff organized. Yeah, they still charge you the fee. Oh, they do charge you the fee? I guess I didn't realize that. I guess it's just built into whenever you register your vehicle. I just know I don't have to go and have the guy look at my truck anymore, so that's good. Now, the key to that is, making sure your vehicle gets registered in the right county. So I'm in Wise County, but everyone thinks I'm in Parker County because the majority of the kind of the township, I guess it probably is Parker County. So people just assume I'm in Parker County. Whenever I bought my truck here a few months back, the dealership registered me in Parker County instead of Wise County. Parker County still requires emissions testing and inspection. So I had to get that squared away. All right. The 2000 XJ needs no inspection now. Why is that, Paul? Is it because of the age? Is it a classic vehicle now? All right, let's see. What else do we have on here? I guess I jumped to the wrong spot. Let's see if there's anything else in here that we want to talk about. Car safety. I think that's what we were just pretty much on. Yeah. Food, water, low and no cost preparedness. So let's see what this is all about. Okay, I see where this is going maybe. This is some smart stuff. Now, some other things that I will point out, and I'm just pointing it out because I have no experience with them, is that Ready.gov, and I'm not sure if these are FEMA funded or if it's Ready.gov funded. These guys do have iOS and Android apps. Now, I've not looked at those. I hate clogging up my phone with apps that I rarely or never use. So I haven't gone that far yet to look into those. But for some of you who may be interested in looking at those, be aware they do have some apps. Maybe they have some of the same information on them. All right, so low cost, no cost preparedness. What are we talking about here? So, okay, emergency communications plan. Let's come back to that. Okay, so they're really talking about getting organized here, right? Getting your shit together here. That's really what this is about. And this is valuable topic here. This is stuff that everyone should do. Not everyone does. But it doesn't cost you anything except for a little bit of time. So I think this is really good. Jeff, thanks for hanging around. If you're still here, I appreciate it. And again, thanks for joining the membership ranks. Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, 25 years. You just register each year. Gotcha. Oh, okay. TDI VWs. They're no longer supposed to exist. Love that. If it's free, it's me. Hey, I represent that statement as well. All right. So yeah, this is an important topic, right? There's a lot you can do to just be in a better position if something happens. Let's look at this emergency communications template here. Okay, you may not be together when disaster strikes. Yeah, that's so true, right? So let's see. Use this form to create your family emergency communications plan, which you can email as a PDF once it's complete. Yeah, and I'd say make sure you save it to your local device so you can actually get to it. Because again, you might not have data or cell access in a certain emergency. All right, so some household information. Okay. Right, some of this stuff is probably even more important depending on the age of your kids. Right, the younger they are, obviously, you're going to maybe want to have some of this information further fleshed out. Here's your family members. Other numbers are social media. That's interesting. Some email, okay. Medical information, okay. That's all good stuff. Let's see what else we got here. Emergency plans. Okay. So what do you guys think this emergency plans? Is this a name and an address? I guess, yeah, I guess maybe if you have an address other than your home address. I'm not sure where they're going with this one. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something here. Let me pull this chat back over. Oh, we've got on the gold topic. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. Nightcry, you don't have that buried yet? Let's see. That's an interesting topic, right? Are you guys using safes, within your structures? Are you out there burying stuff in a coffee can in the yard? There's all kinds of thoughts there. I don't want to go too far down those roads, unless that's where you want to go, of course. But yeah, I just don't know what, let me look at this again. So we have household information, family members. That all makes sense to me. Gotcha. Let's see, you can add additional names. Okay, emergency plans. Enter information for schools. Okay, I see what this is. So other locations where you might have, where some of your family might be, maybe that's what this is, right? So if you don't work at home, where are you working? Where are the other folks in your household at when they're not at home, right? Whether they're at school, whether they're in childcare, whatnot. Okay, I'm with you now. Some emergency contacts. Okay. Emergency meeting places. I think this is a great idea as well, right? Depending on the type of emergency, sometimes you maybe can't get back to your house. So you have to have an alternate location. Okay, some medical information here. This is good. Some doctors, insurance stuff. That's all good. Okay. What do you think they're missing here? Any other critical information? Now, this doesn't feel like a communication plan to me. I mean, it's all good information. There's some communication related items here. This isn't what I would consider a communication plan, though. But again, right, I would expect to have some two-way radio type of influence here, right? Whether that's FRS or ham. Everybody I've got in my household today is a ham, so that's good. But if my kids were here, they're at college, they're off to college. They are not hams, but they could use FRS radios. So I think having a plan for that makes sense as well. Right? The wilderness protocol comes to mind a little bit as well. Right? Not only, establishing a frequency that you're going to try to communicate on, a frequency or a channel, establishing a time frame that you're going to try to communicate over that two-way radio or mesh-tastic device, right? Because you're trying to conserve your battery power potentially. Those are things I think about being in a communications plan. Evacuation plans, fire plans. Yeah, meeting place out of the area, contact plans. Yeah, those are great, Paul. Yep. Yeah. No, I think what we've, we're seeing a consistent theme here is that, first of all, this is a solid starting point for somebody who is building their first plan, right? Building their first kit, building their first plan. I do not, I don't have a negative thing to say here in terms of that, right? This is a great boilerplate, great place to start. Hey, Patrick, thanks for joining. I hadn't seen you earlier. At least I don't recall seeing you earlier. Glad you were able to join. Let's see. Yeah, isn't that the truth, right? I can remember my childhood phone numbers. To this day, I know what they are, and I can recite them right now. There are so many other phone numbers that I should know that I do not know. Right? It's these things have made us lazy, right? All the information's in our phone. That's a thing. That's a problem. I'm curious if you guys are the same way. Now I know, I know some people who go out of their way and they actually make that part of their plan is they have certain contacts memorized. I don't. Yeah, that's a sore subject around here, Patrick. So, that's a great comment. I'm a horrible host here. Look at this. I created this fancy new little thing here, and I haven't even remembered to use it. I use it in the very beginning. But this is kind of a sore topic around here these days. So most counties have emergency notification systems you can sign up for to alert you to emergencies in your area. And there's a lot of talk about why that wasn't better utilized, why it wasn't used, period, down in the hill country when we had all the flooding around Camp Mystic and other areas down there where so many of those kids lost their lives. It's there's a lot of hubbub about that here in Texas. Del Fargus, wow, man, thank you. Keep up the good work. You're kicking ass. I got to sleep. Have a car show tomorrow. Del, thanks so much for joining. Thanks so much for joining last week as well. It's always great to have you in the chat. I appreciate it, buddy. Enjoy your car show. I'm curious, you'll have to let me know at some point if you're showing or if you're just watching. I love going to car shows. So that's great. Appreciate it. Thank you. Hey, I think I can even highlight that. Can I? Can I? Yeah, there we go. Appreciate that. Let's see. I have my parents' number memorized. Yep, I've got that as well. 45. I still have that. Like I said, I've got phone numbers from 45, 50 years ago memorized, and I don't know, current phone numbers today. Yeah, Paul, you've got yours and your best friends. Oh, okay. Let me think about that now. Yep, I've got that one as well. Oh, that's awesome. Holy smokes. Just when I thought I'm losing my memory, right? Just when those Prevagen commercials almost pushed me over. Not really, but they cracked me up. Let's see. This is a good comment here. I don't know if anyone else has done this, but I printed topo maps of the whole island and plopped them in a land nav kit. One of the things I do whenever I'm traveling is, and Google's pretty good at this. And I'm curious. I'm an Android user, and I don't have much experience with iOS stuff. Not much experience with many other apps. Whenever on Android, you can choose to download maps to your device. And like if you're planning for a trip, they'll give you the opportunity to download the maps for that area to your device. And when those are going to expire, you can also get a notification that says, hey, these maps are going to expire. They don't keep them forever. They'll expire them out. But they give you an opportunity to keep a map that's going to expire. I think that's pretty awesome, right? Silly as it sounds, one of the places that comes in handy more so than you would ever think. Now, if we have any frequent flyers out there, any air travelers out there, you guys will likely know this, but oftentimes when you're picking up a rental car, you're in a garage and you've got no cell signal in those garage, right? A lot of times you're picking up a vehicle, you're in the bottom floor of a several story garage, and there's no way you're going to punch in your destination, or there's no way you're going to get a map fed to you on the first floor of a lot of these parking garages. But if you've got that map saved, then you don't need to have your signal, right? You can put your destination in and you can be off and running, and you're not waiting until you get outside of the garage where, there's possibly a line and a bunch of people trying to push you. And that's just a little nicety that I've come to get spoiled with. Organic maps on iOS. I have no idea what that is. I have old iPhones stocked with topo maps. Nice. I think old phones are some of the best resources that get overlooked, right? I never turn my phone in whenever I get a new phone. I'm just weird that way. I want that phone and I'll use it for another purpose for a long, long time. There's a lot of computing power in these little phones. So, I think a lot of people overlook those. So I'm glad to see somebody else is using those old phones as well. Colin and VK, good day and welcome. It's great to have you here on the stream. Colin, I appreciate you joining. All right, let's see. A location for your Togo bag with a list of instructions for, I guess that's a to-go bag, with your list of instructions for other items to grab because you're not thinking clearly. Yeah, that's for sure. For sure. Cheap USB solar charger. I have one of those as well. I've got a kit. Like I said, I've got like so many of these types of kits. I've got one that's a little bit larger bag. That's my solar kit, and it's got all of my cables for my various solar panels. But one of the other things that I keep in that is a USB. It's a small battery bank that's got a fold out. It's got a fold out solar panel on it just for that purpose. Now it's it's pretty long in the tooth these days by today's standards, but it works, and I've used it multiple times. It's not like those new power film jobbies that are out there, but it's also not the price tag of one of those power film jobbies either. All right. So yeah, so let's see. I'm just getting back to this here real quick. I think this is a great starting point. Great starting point. Okay. Let's see what else they've got for us here. If there's anything of interest, financial preparedness. Okay, this is a good thought here. I'm just taking a look here. This looks like some basic information. Yeah, I'm glad they're putting some of these things right up front. Certainly a concern. Okay, so this is new. I'm not familiar with this at all. An emergency financial first aid kit. A joint publication from Operation Hope and FEMA. Let's check this thing out. Oh, so you got to download the kit. Let's see. Fillable forms. Large print. Let's see. Is this actually a download? Okay, good. It's PDF. All right. And I went the large print one to hopefully make that easier for folks to see here on the stream. Strengthen your financial preparedness. See what kind of stuff they've got in here. I mean, I love the concept. I think this is a great idea. Well, let's see what the execution looks like. Colin, you wandered into a discussion here on preparedness. This is National Preparedness Month in the U.S. September is National Preparedness Month, and we're looking through some of the resources that are provided to us by Ready.gov, which is part of FEMA, I believe. And they've got a lot of information here on how to build, kind of emergency prepared kits of various types. And the one that we're looking at here is a financial kit, which this is I'd say this is probably something that gets overlooked pretty frequently. So I'm kind of curious what they're going to recommend here. Now, I'll just to get to the punchline for some of you who may have joined late, I was hoping we would see some sort of two-way radio communication mention in these preparedness kits, but that has not been the case. So I think they certainly have a gap there. Like I mentioned before, I don't expect them to speak about ham radio because it's a licensed service, but FRS radio, I think, is a huge miss for these lists. All right, come on. What are we getting to here? Okay, this is what I was looking for. Okay, here's a checklist, important documents. Okay, so that's good. Right, these are all kind of basics. This is really good. This is good as well. Interesting. They want you to have, well, they want you to have your card handy, I guess. Interesting. Child identity cards, passports. You know, certainly you need to know where this is. I know for a lot of folks, they might not know where that is. I don't know. I'm kind of curious how our crowd here, it feels like, I know whenever I was in college, right, I learned my social security number when I went to college, believe it or not, right? You had to recite it all the time for this, that, or the other thing. And then, of course, it became a no-no to share your social security number, right? There came a point where we crossed over and that, very commonly used piece of information became a no-no, and for good reason. But I'm curious if folks here know where their social security card is, right? Do you know your social security number off the top of your head? And do you know where your card is? Let's see. I'm curious to see. Oh, wow. Idaho driver's license number. That's another number that's used pretty frequently these days is your driver's license number. I do not have my driver's license number memorized. Yep. I remember that, Bill. That's exactly the way it was where I went to school as well. You had to write your SOCH in the memo field on the check if you wanted to get it cashed. Yep. That's when I learned mine too. Like I said, it wasn't until I went to college that I learned my social security number. Some pizza places only took cash. Yeah. We had the VCR rental place only took cash. The one that we would go to. Still pretty amazing that used to be a business. We didn't have a Blockbuster. We didn't have ours was a mom and pop shop. It was actually run by the family that had that sold TVs. You guys remember back in that same era, most people bought their TVs from the TV store, right? You had a shop in town that sold you your TV and probably sold you your first VCR too. Ah, there you go, 45. Yeah, I'm an Army brat. I didn't have to, for whatever reason, I didn't have to learn that. Like I said, until I got to college. Now I could always recite where my dad was working on base, his rank, his name, rank, and location on base. Me and my brother, we had to know that at all times. Oh, Colin, that's interesting. Social security card is not a thing here. Driver's license is your main ID. Interesting. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, there were no debit cards. That's true. True enough. Okay, so we got let's see, passports, all that kind of good stuff. Your naturalization documents. Okay, here we go. Military ID. Now, I always had one of those too whenever I was a kid. Had the military ID card. It's how you got into the rec center and everything else on base. It's how you got into the movie theater, the rec center. Okay. Pet ID tags. Proof of pet ownership. That's interesting. And this is in the financial toolkit. Okay. The pet microchip. Emotional support letter. Okay. All right, what do we got here? Household information. I'm probably scrolling this too fast. Sorry, guys. Supervisor. Okay, this is all just a bunch of good contact stuff, which we saw. This is kind of repeated in some of those other. I actually like this better. It's more specific. I'm curious. Okay, here we go. Financial preparedness. Getting your stuff together. Okay, copy of your lease or rental agreements. Okay, your mortgage information. I mean, this is all good stuff just to have organized, right? Good to have all this stuff organized at home. Okay. Yep. All your investment accounts, retirement accounts, that all makes sense. Okay. So this is a good list of stuff. Again, I think this is a real solid place for people to start, right? Getting started doing some of this stuff is always the hardest thing. And if you've got a template, that goes a long way. Hey, Roger, thanks for joining the stream. I apologize if I missed you earlier. I don't recall seeing you. Thanks for joining. Matthew, good evening. Welcome. We're talking about National Preparedness Month. And we're looking at some of the resources that the government provides to help us get prepared. None of these have drone detection and countermeasures. Yeah, like these are boilerplate baseline. Let's see. Having interviewed wow, that's interesting there. Hardest thing to do is to get a driver's license. Okay. Interesting. Okay, let's see. Anything else here that your insurance stuff, right? Okay, so I think that's all great. Recent pay stubs for all sources of income. Okay. You know, another great way to get started on this is if you have recently bought any property, right? If you've bought a house or bought any property, this feels like the checklist of stuff that you have to provide in order to obtain a mortgage, right? This is all that kind of stuff. And again, it's just using one of those life events to kind of kickstart your preparedness journey. All right, let's see. Yeah, so I think this is all really good stuff here. Boy, this is a big list. This thing goes on and on. All your medical stuff. So this is a very comprehensive list. What's this here? Your household contacts. I mean, quite honestly, you could probably work from this list and skip some of those others. Yeah, this kind of goes into everything. So this is another build a kit, all that kind of stuff. Okay. All right, this is good stuff. Okay. Let's see what else we've got here. How's everyone doing here? Let's check in. Let's check everyone's temperature here, see how we're hanging out. Let's see. Hey, we've got 30 people out there. Congratulations, gang. Nice to have everybody along for the ride. What time we got? It is almost 11 o'clock. We're almost 2 hours in. Hopefully everyone's feeling good. I still have about a quarter of a can here. I've got the, I don't know if you guys drink these. This is the America Pop. So this tastes like those red, white, and blue popsicles. And this stuff is pretty good stuff. It's sugar-free, all that kind of good thing. It's just pretty much, I think it's 200 milligrams. I'm curious here now. I think it's 200 milligrams of caffeine. Let me make sure I'm getting that straight. Yeah, 200 milligrams per can. So that's a good, it's a good booster. All right, let's see. I lost my chat. All right. Yeah, still, oh yeah. I've got that coming up before too long. It's not, I think it's next year. I dread the thought of having to get renewed on my driver's license. Let's see here. Wow, 6-month waiting list. Hey, have you guys, has anyone tried to get a, oh, daggone it. I lost it. Passport. Has anyone tried to get a passport lately? That's another thing that was, really, really drug out. I'm curious if that's gotten better. I definitely need to do that. All right, looks like Eric is hanging out for a bit. Eric, if I remember, last week you were in line buying some meatballs at IKEA during the stream. Let's see, you got a new passport in June. Took about 2 weeks. That's not bad at all. Not bad at all. 7 business days. Now, are there any special considerations or circumstances for you two? Or do you think that is representative of what everybody would expect at this point? All right. Boy, I wasn't sure. Did I freeze there for a second? Not sure. Let's see. I want to see and check something real quick here on the stream. Bear with me just a moment. Seeing something that looks really odd. I'm wondering if it's just my view or if it's everybody. Let me check here real quick. All right, looks like it may be in my view. Okay. Cooley. Thanks for joining, buddy. Nice to see you. I was wondering where you are. I was going to have to send the dogs out. Glad you can make it, bud. All right. That looks fine. Okay, let's see. Quick turnaround is probable and possible unless demand skyrockets. Well, that's good. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, this looks like a good time to get it done then. I mean, I was hearing, horror stories of like 6 months. So glad to hear that that's gotten better. I don't know if you guys have ever tried using one of those passport offices. There's a few of them in the country. There's one in Buffalo, New York. I mean, you walk in there, you can get them like next day. It's crazy. Let's see. Cooley had some company over. Nice. Yeah, I'm not sure where all those passport offices are, but that's the last time I had mine redone. It was awesome. I walked in. I was going to India. I walked in. They took care of everything, took all my information. I went back the next day and picked it up. Oh, you're welcome, Cooley. Was happy to send those out to you. Cooley, you have a t-shirt coming to you as well. I believe you should have got should have got your tracking information today. I think it looks like it'll be there on the 9th. So, hey, that's one thing I'll mention for folks. I've had a few folks that have picked up some t-shirts. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Those are printed to order. So I just want to kind of give you guys fair warning on that. So it's not a case where when you make the order, they actually ship it out the next day. Right now, I think we're seeing about a 7 or 8 day, maybe a 9 day lead time from the day the order gets placed to when those get on demand printed and delivered. So that's not shipped. That's like 9 days till it hits your door. So all right, let's see. Yeah, I know. You see those services, and I don't think they've got any way to expedite it beyond what you can do yourself at the post office. Oh yeah, I remember that Faraday video. That was fun. Didn't he have his G90 maybe in that Faraday trash can? Yeah, that was fun. EOD's got your t-shirt right now. Got to find out how to get a shirt from Paul. Paul can help you with that, certainly. Paul also gives away, I think he gives away a shirt pretty frequently. I actually was a recipient of one of his giveaways. So if you watch his live streams, he usually comes on after Jason on Sunday nights. And, maybe you'll win one. Arthur, good evening. Welcome from Sacramento. Thanks for joining the stream. Yeah, this seems to be about the time we start to pick up some West Coasters. So that's great. Yeah, we're holding steady at 30 people. So, all right, let's see. All right. There you go too. Yeah. If you are a member of his channel for 3 months at the Razorback level, you get a free shirt. 6 months. If 6 months hogs get a free shirt. Okay. So he's got different levels there. Make sure you check out Paul. He's got a great stream. He does a great job, and he's just an all around great person. Even more so than all the other great stuff he does. I just really enjoy and think a lot of Paul. So, all right. Let's see what else we've got here. Let's see. So the financial kit, this is way more than the financial kit. It's got a ton of great stuff in it, so that's good. Get tech ready. Do we have a chance for a two-way radio here? Don't hold your breath. Okay, let's see. Download the FEMA app. That's up to you guys. Like I said, I have not done that. I might give that a try at some point, but maybe I won't as well. Do I have some trust issues? Maybe, but I might load it on one of my old phones. How about that? Ziggy, thanks for joining the stream, buddy. It's good to have you here. All right, let's see here. Every now and then I have to reload my chat. I don't know. I hope I'm still there. Okay, yeah, there we go. Okay. Okay, so let's see. Ziggy, just to get you caught up, we're looking at the Ready.gov site. This is resources to support National Preparedness Month, September being National Preparedness Month. So we're looking at some of these resources here, seeing, we're giving our evaluation, right? We're giving them the thumbs up or thumbs down. So far, I think they're doing a pretty good job in terms of the boilerplate resources that they're providing. Okay, sign up for FEMA text messages. Man, that's just another one that's hard for me to do. I hate to get, I hate when my phone is blown up with, miscellaneous nonsense texts. But it's out there. Okay. And again, we're looking at the Get Tech Ready section here. So make a plan, use your text messages, social media. How are you going to connect with friends? Okay, they're making big assumptions here that we've got, big infrastructure available to us, which, in many circumstances, you're going to have big infrastructure available. So this isn't this isn't awful. You just can't stop there, right? So let's see what else we've got here. Uh-oh. Wah, wah, wah. This feels like the first failure here. I mean, I feel like this is a big failure here. So get tech ready. What are they telling us? They're saying, get a FEMA app, sign up for FEMA text messages, and know who and how you're going to text or use social media to connect with people you care about in an emergency. This feels like a huge failure. And a reference to Facebook's safety check feature. Again, this feels like the first big failure in their resources. You got to know how to charge your phone. Yeah. Store your important information, your documents on secure devices. Yeah. So let's see. I'm curious what their little infographic looks like here. Keep a copy of your important document. Upload those to the cloud. Yeah, I don't like where this is going at all. These guys are making a lot of assumptions that I think are bad assumptions. Let's see, what else do they have in here? What's this one look like? Oh, these are more upload to the cloud. Keep a copy of it in the cloud. Oh, okay. Make sure it's encrypted. Make sure you're taking precautions if you're doing that, please. And please don't make that your only source of that information. Again, there's a lot of assumptions here that your big infrastructure is in place and all your services are working. Let's see what everyone's got to say about this. Just got a great lesson from Hollywood. Sounds like somebody's been modeling some antennas. Yeah, hopefully we'll get to see some more about that, Ziggy, in one of your upcoming streams. Let's see. My old job would pay me for FEMA certs. Tells you all you need to know. Yep. Border states have a partial passport that is attached to your driver's license. Now, like I said, the last time I got my passport renewed, I was in Buffalo, and you could get a passport card, I believe is what it was called. And this card was good for Canada and Mexico, but it wasn't good for travel beyond those border countries. I think that's what they called it, a passport card. It looked just kind of like your driver's license. They gave you, I remember this, they gave you a little, Faraday sleeve to keep your card in. Yeah, exactly, Ziggy. Don't worry. Your files are safe with us. We got it. It's all under control. Oh, look at that. Cooley, now that's a friend, right? That's a friend. Somebody took a risk for you there. Enjoy. Yeah, I wish all cell phones could take 5 to 50 volts for charging. Hey, that's one of the benefits and the exciting things that I like about that new Lab 599 MP. Right, that thing can take up to 50 volts. You can go straight from your solar panel directly into that device. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's a good comment here. I agree. You do need to have an off-site copy, right? With, with someone you can trust, right? Your brother, your mother, a close friend. Yeah, certainly. I just don't want you to have that only copy be in the cloud. That's my only point. Right? It's okay to have a copy in the cloud. Don't make that your only copy. Yep, ham radio should take that voltage as well. I agree. Yeah, you got it, Bill. Just hit that upload button. We got you. Yep, 599 for the win. That's right. Okay. So, get tech ready. Boy, they missed a ton here. Right? This feels like an afterthought here. Certainly. All right. There's so much opportunity to build this out. And maybe it's beyond the scope of this. But I think this is just a little too weak. This is really bad. Let's just call it what it is. This is really bad. All right. I'm just going to take another scan here. So people with disabilities, right? This may be yourself. This may be somebody in your family. Let's see what kind of good stuff we've got here. Make sure you have a support network. Yeah, I feel like in many cases, these are going to be situations that are hopefully in place for folks. Medical alert tags. Those don't seem to be quite as popular as they once were. I just don't see them as frequently as I used to. I don't know. Do you guys see people wearing, those bracelets and those types of things? Maybe I'm just less observant than I used to be. I used to Feels like I used to see people wearing those much more frequently than I notice it today. Yeah, the cloud, somebody else's computer. Exactly. Make sure that is encrypted. Right? Make sure you manage the keys, please. Right? That encryption doesn't mean squat if you don't own and manage the keys. All right, let's see here. Get your benefits electronically. Okay, so we're back to building a kit. Some special tips for certain circumstances. I think that's great. Yeah, again, I think many of these sections have really great baseline information. Cooley says my son-in-law's grandmother wears one. Yeah, do you know of any young people that are wearing them though? Is that still the way we communicate that information? Yeah, the list is pretty similar. Yep. I mean, I feel like all of this is really pretty good. This has the same amount of thought that we've seen in most of these other sections, except for this getting tech ready. Older adults, I feel like these are just going to be slight variations on some of these things. Now there's that FEMA app again. This looks like much of the same information, just repurposed, which is fine. Like I said, I think all that information was pretty good. I'm going to skip some of these. I want to see what they've got for weather situations. We've got winter ready. I thought I saw, okay, disasters. Maybe this is where I saw it. So let's see here. Why you should be winter ready. There was something I come across at one point. I'm going to look around a little bit for it here, see if I can find it. They were talking about specific emergency types, weather. Okay, maybe this is where I saw some of it. Avalanche, biohazard exposure, right? There's lots of interesting stuff here. Right here in Texas, we're always worried about tornadoes and flooding. Let's see what we got here in severe weather. Yeah, okay, so here's some tornado preparedness. Okay, know your area's risk, know the signs, know the warning systems, know what that siren sounds like. Okay, hey, this is interesting. Safe room. Okay. Oh, this is interesting. So if you're going to build a safe room, they've got some guidance here. This is nice. Okay. Looks like they've got some standards. I was unaware of this. You guys may have known this. I was unaware of some standards around this. Let's see. You got a video here. I don't want to watch the video. Let's see. I'm looking for, where do I get the detail on these standards? I must be missing it. I don't see it. Maybe you have to request it. It's a building sciences newsletter. I just want to see what some of the recommendations are. Funding. Wait, let's see what this says. Is there funding available? FEMA-funded prefabricated residential safe rooms. So I'm wondering if this is for certain locations. All right, let's see. Individual homeowners do not apply directly to FEMA. To eligible states, tribes, and territories. All right, so let's see who is eligible. Okay. Hazard mitigation assistance. Hey, if I can get a tornado shelter with some funding, I'm all about it. Let's see. We got some flood stuff. Fire stuff. What's this one up here? Pre-disaster mitigation. Somebody's leaving here. Gray Man. Hey, thanks for hanging out, man. I appreciate it. It's good to see you. Always appreciate having you in the chat, Tim. This looks like something that may require a little bit of investigation, right? If there's grants out there, if there's opportunities for some funding, you know, tornado shelters are certainly a thing here. It's certainly, let's see, the funding. Oh, did you look into this at some time? Paul, that's cool. It feels like the type of thing that they offer funding kind of after the fact. That's just my cynical nature coming out. Hey, sorry you guys just had a tornado. By the way, why don't you guys build a safe room? Gotcha. Expired funding. Gotcha. Yeah, I'm looking for one in the ground. I'm looking for the bunker. Yeah, this sounds like it's worthy of a little bit of investigation. Funding by disaster type. Let's see what we got there. Okay. Hazard mitigation grant program. Funding to state, local, and tribal territorial governments and territorial governments. Let's see. Extending the application period for grants through the grant program. All right, let's look at the fact sheet. I'm intrigued. Summary of changes. Final rule. The final rule is effective for major disasters declared on or after. Yeah, see, this is the problem with this thing, right? After you've had a disaster, we're going to help you so you don't have one the next time. What about helping before the first one happens? All right, I'm going to have to do some more looking here. That looks a little too in-depth, but interesting for sure. Yeah, certainly, Paul. I'll let you know. If I find something, we'll have a grant application party. We'll get all the fellas together here in North Texas, and we'll get our grants filled out. All right, let's see. Very, very interesting. So this looks like something to maybe keep an eye on too. That might be something that's cyclical, that comes around from time to time. I'm curious, Paul. Did you get any like initial price tags on some of those things? I'm just kind of curious, right? Are they like 10 grand? Are they 20 grand? What are they? I'm sure, it depends, right? It always depends. But I'm just kind of curious what you had seen. All right, let's see. Trying to get back. This is all FEMA. Safe room. Okay. So all very interesting stuff. All right, let's see. Tsunamis. We have some folks here that may be interested in what they have to say about tsunamis. I know we've got some folks in some tropical areas in the chat. Us Florida people live day by day. 4,000 for the above ground was covered. Interesting. Okay. I've seen some of those. Those are pretty cool. The ones I've seen, they look very similar to the same ones that you bury. I'm sure it's maybe some material coatings differences, maybe materials themselves. Maybe the ones that get buried are structurally built a little differently. I don't know if you guys were Demolition Ranch fans, but on Matt's other channel, when he built his abandoned mansion, he put in a bunker. That was a tornado bunker slash vault, pew pew vault. That was pretty inspiring. Let's see here. Tsunamis. What are we doing here? Drop, cover, hold on. That's just not as catchy as stop, drop, and roll, is it? Okay, so what are they talking about here? They travel 20 to 30 miles an hour, 10 to 100-foot high waves. Yeah, they're nothing to tussle with. I'm curious if Eric, if you're still out there, do you guys have any specific training or anything around tsunami preparedness? Be interesting. EOD, if you're still out there, I'm not sure if you guys do anything special out your way out in Guam. Mike says not a. Mike says nope. Give me the snow. Okay, those, yep, steel cylinder ones. Yep. I know exactly what you mean. I don't think, oh, okay. Good. Good, good, good. Lost my chat again. There it is. Okay, let's see. Ooh, tsunami safety graphics. Let's see what this looks like. Act quickly, know the signs. Get to higher ground. Okay. All right, so I think we've I think we may have run the gamut here through. See if there's anything else at all anyone cares to see. How about, I'm there's a couple here I'm curious about. I'm curious about the biohazard stuff. This is just a curiosity more than anything. Right, and this is, well, there's not a lot there. Let's see how they're couching this as an event. So they're just leaving it as a wide biological event. So I'm guessing there's nothing really special in here. I'm just curious here. Here in Indiana, it could be Children of the Corn. Oh, wow. Malaysia, Indonesia, kind of protecting us. Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, that sounds like very sound advice, right? Be the early adopter or the early reactor. You don't want to get caught up in the mayhem. Yeah, that sounds interesting there, Mike. I've never been there. Buy a gas mask. Yeah, let's see what's a. Oh, nice, Paul. I you guys may you may have seen um uh the battle box guy on Jason's stream before. Super, super nice guy, super cool guy. I've had a chance to meet him. I've been on a couple of streams with him, had a chance to meet him in person, back in Huntsville. Got a, chance to spend just a little bit of time with him. Fun guy. It's interesting for me because I'd been a BattleBox subscriber for a long time, years ago, and I would get these BattleBox subscriptions as gifts, and it became like the de facto gift, right? If you don't know what to get Robert, just extend his BattleBox gift, which I was way cool with. But I've got this cadre of like knives and all kinds of interesting fire starters, and I mean just all kinds of stuff that came through those battle boxes. And in one of those, they did have a gas mask. Now it was, kind of the old style gas mask. I forget what the filter type is in it, but I've got one of those. I've got one of those on the shelf here, and that's how I got it. But I really don't know much about them. Let's see. They don't really. This is all regular stuff. I didn't think that they would address much there. That looks like normal kit stuff. What are they talking about? What to do with exposure? Yeah, this is super big. This is another area, right? Where I'd say this is pretty much a fail. There's very little useful information here. Let's see. My state offers a tax credit for safe rooms. Interesting. Foreland. Are you in Foreland? I'm curious, Ken, if you don't mind sharing whereabouts you might be. I'm curious which state offers that up. Let's see what else here. $3,000 and up to 50% of the cost. That's pretty cool. Picked out the gas mask, but didn't pull the trigger. Okay. Yeah, so I'd say in my estimation, this is another fail. I'm curious. Let's look at the cybersecurity one. Alabama. Okay. Interesting. All right. Let's see. Protecting yourself. Yep. Limiting your personal information. Keep things up to date. Yep. This is all basic, but good guidance. Yeah. Just try to be aware too, right? Situational awareness when you're on the internet is important as well. Yeah, don't share your PINs or passwords. Don't share your passwords across different accounts too, folks, please. It is so easy today for a compromise to happen. They happen every single day. And if you are, just for the sake of convenience, sharing or using the same password against many services, it's going to bite you, right? Cyber criminals know people do that, and they'll take the password that they get in, breach X, and they'll try that same password across so many different services. And, if you're sharing, they're going to get a hit, and then you're going to take a hit. So please get yourself a password squirrel if you have to, but do not share your password across services. Another thing that I'm a really big fan of, I've got some certain credit cards, that will allow me to create a unique credit card for every transaction. Or I've got another situation where you can create a specific credit card number, and you can specify which organizations can use that or charge against that number. That is a fantastic service, right? Where you can essentially provide a unique number for every transaction, and it's built right into the app. It does it very conveniently. That is fantastic. And then, for your reoccurring charges, if you have one of those cards that will let you create a number and say, this can only be used for, Verizon is the only vendor, if you will, the only company that can use this credit card number. They get breached and that number gets, out into the wild. You don't have to worry about it. You've got another layer of protection there. So if you guys don't have those types of services on your cards, I recommend you at least make yourself aware of them, look into them, see how they work. Those may be good options for you. All right, let's see how we're doing here. What time we got? We've got 11:30 here at Central Time Zone. Did my chat go quiet on me, or did my chat stop on me? Let's see. Is there anybody out there? You guys still awake out there? I see we've still got 30 people hanging out. Thank you. Congratulations. You've made it 2.5 hours. Let's see if anyone's awake out there. Okay, there we go. There we go. We got some folks out there. It's hard to tell right now. Sometimes if every now and again I'll have to reload my chat window. So, okay, good. All right. Let's see. I only use giant stone coins of the Yap Islands. Nice. All right. So there's some decent stuff here. You know, some other basic things. I mean, they, tell you where to file your reports, all that stuff. That's good information. Sometimes it can be daunting to try to hunt this stuff down, right? It's like, how do you report a cybercrime? How do you go about that, right? Obviously, if it's with your credit card, you start there. But the fact that they've got all of these other resources here, I like that. That's nice. Oh, we got some bourbon and some beer drinkers out there. Nothing wrong with that. I do wish they would talk some more about some of these more modern credit card services, right? Because I think those are a game changer. I wish they would talk about things like encryption management, key management in some of these things. I understand some of those topics can get, over some people's heads pretty quickly, but I think you can present some of that information at the right level so that people can start to get educated on it. Let's see, what else are they talking about here? So they're talking about HTTPS, so that's good. Talking about invalid certificates, right? This feels like a opportunity here to really expand that, right? Do people understand certificates? I don't know that a lot of people do. Of course, I expect my ham radio audience is going to, by and large, understand what's going on there. But, for just the, John Q public, I'm not so sure. So I'm lukewarm on this section, I guess. It's not as bad as the biohazard. It's not as bad as the tech, getting tech ready, but could certainly be better. All right. Is there anything else out here that you guys have any interest in taking a look at, or are you guys done with this? Are we ready to open things up a little bit? Never had bourbon 45? Never had bourbon. My. Maybe you're not a drinker at all, which that's fine too. I'm curious though. If you're not a bourbon drinker, what is your poison? Ziggy says, let's move on. I'm good with moving on. Cybersecurity is a major headache in my field. Yeah, let's I think it's moved out of the realm of being, certainly in your line of work, Mike. But, you know, it feels like it's crossed over from being a tech issue to being an every person's issue these days. Yep. But I do hear what you're saying. Coolies from Kentucky. I didn't know that. Okay. So never. I haven't even had a beer since June. Wow, good for you. Good for you. Yeah, that's a good you know, does critical infrastructure really need, right? Should it be air gapped? You know, that's a good question. That's a very valid question. All right, so hey, look, the main thing is you guys know that resource is out there. Maybe you knew it before. I never looked at that resource before. Maybe it can help you. Maybe it can help somebody you know. Maybe it can help, you know, a family member that's not as preparedness minded. You know, I feel like a lot of the people in our community we're already prepared. We already have a preparedness mindset. There we go. I got it out. But we all know people who don't. And I think a lot of these resources are great starting points for those. So there is that. All right. Let's move on. What do you guys want to talk about now? Let's see. Am I selling that 857? No way, man. Not going to sell it. I love that radio. I don't use it as often as I should. But it's just a good radio to have, you know, in that form factor, all mode. That's a good radio to have. I looked for quite a while for that radio. And I passed on a few of them that one has never even been installed in a vehicle. That one came in a box. And I don't know that the owner used it. I mean, or used it much. I got super lucky with that one. I'm holding on to that one. If I ever change my mind, though, this is the place I'll come to sell it, though, for sure. Let's see. Yeah. Isn't that the scary thought there? Hey, you guys like that? Look at that fancy little graphic I did there, right? That's a big upgrade from last week. So I also I did some work here on the audio. Hopefully that's obvious to you guys, and we've got good audio for you guys. I also made some additional scenes for some other activities, so I'm excited about that. Trying to get prepared for, you know, more things that we can do on this live stream going forward. Let's see. How many sat grids are you up to? You know what, Mike? I don't know. You ask me that all the freaking time, and I don't know. I need to look. And I start to look, and then I get distracted or get waylaid to the side. So let me see. I'm going to try to look it up. I can't stand Dr. Pepper on its own. That came out of left field. Interesting. Dr. Bourbon. I just created a new drink, Mike. We'll call that a Dr. Bourbon. So Dr. Pepper with a little bit of bourbon. Yeah, that's where I'm headed. Let's see. I gotta get. Okay, go. Let's go. I used to have this password memorized. I'm gonna have to look it up. I'm gonna have to look it up. All right, let's see. All right, let's see. Almost there, Mike. All right. So I am only, and this is from my home grid. I'm only at 76 QSLs. Like I said, I do most of my satellite operating roving. So I don't do most of my operating from my home grid. And that's the whole reason for me putting in the ground station. So I'll be more inclined to work toward that VUCC satellite award. So finally, Mike, we got the answer. Yeah, I have that set up, Eric. I've done that part before. I've done that setup before. Now, what I've not set up before, and this is really what I should do. I know there's, isn't there an operating award for roving? So I don't have that set up. I think that requires some setup. On the air every day until you get 100. Yeah, like I said, I am motivated to go after that. I was really excited when I saw Grace got that last week. And I think she's been at it probably maybe 4 years. Yeah, reverse VUCC from AMSAT. Oh yeah, from AMSAT. That's what it is, for roving to 100 grids. And I think she was fairly active, right? It took her maybe a little over 4 years, but I was super excited to see that. First to do it under 21 years of age. She's a third generation ham to have achieved that award, being number 73. So I think that's pretty cool. Oh yeah. Yeah. Mike, I know you've got some work in front of you there as part of your move for sure. For sure. All right, so we crossed that one off. What else do you guys have? What else is on the list? What else would you guys like to chat about? Let's see here. Let's see. Unclick the comment. Yeah, I got rid of it. Sorry about that. I had it sitting there for a long time. I need to set an automation on that one. You know what? Let me just do that real quick here. I need to set an automation on that where it goes away after a certain amount of time. There's all this cool stuff this software can do. It just takes a little bit of time to learn all of the features. It's pretty powerful stuff. All right, let's see. All right, let's see here. Let me go try to set that up. All right, there's so many options here. I guess that's it. Hold on a second. I got to go look here again. Okay. We'll try it out here then. Let's see here. Okay, I think that might be it. Let's give it a try. Let me find a worthy comment here. We'll see if the automation works. Hey, it worked. It might have been a little too fast. Let's see. I am using something called vMix, Bill. But I'm going to adjust that. That seemed pretty quick. Maybe too quick. Let's see. All right, let's give this one a try. There we go. I think that's pretty good there. Yeah, so it's called vMix. Yeah, that is fancy, isn't it? There, look, somebody said it was fancy. Gosh, I worked so hard on that finally. Thank you, Eric. Thanks for noticing, buddy. YOLO box. I'm not familiar with that. Hey, 45. If you're still here, thanks for joining the stream, buddy. It was nice seeing you. All right. Well, hey, how about I'm going to be turning around. Actually, I'm going to take those off for a little bit. I'm going to be turning around and streaming again on Sunday. I do like it, Paul. There's a learning curve on it, but I believe that's the same with OBS. I've never used OBS. But when I hear everyone else kind of talk about how it works, it feels like it's very similar in many regards. Jim, is Jim leaving or is Andy leaving? I saw the comment there from Andy. Jim, if you're leaving, I didn't even see a Jim in there. My apologies, but yeah, thanks for being here and thanks for hanging out for a while. But yeah, so we've got a stream on Sunday. Does anybody have a topic that they might be interested in? Something I could do that I'm time boxed. I've got an hour. But if you guys have a topic, I'm happy to dive into whatever topic you might be interested in. Silence. Trying to think. I hadn't really put much thought at all into the topic. One of the things I would like to do, and maybe I'll try to do this, SSTV. That's something to think about. Sunday, it's going to be 6 o'clock, so I'm in Frank's spot. So Jason's not going to be streaming on Sunday night. He's got some other prior engagement, some other activities, so he's not going to stream. So Frank's going to take Jason's spot, and I'm going to take Frank's spot. So I've got that 6 o'clock hour to spend some time with you guys. So I want to try to put something together that will be of interest to everybody. Like I said, I'll be time boxed to an hour. Something I was thinking about, you guys tell me. I could do something that's Yagi log antennas that will still hit a bird. Non-Yagi. Oh. Well, let's see. That could be fun. That could be real fun. Hold on a second. Let me see what passes happen to be in the area on Sunday between 6 and 7 p.m. So Sunday. Okay, so let's see. So I've got one really bad ISS pass for what I'm thinking about. Really bad meaning 7-degree pass. That's not ideal. It'd be nice if I had something that was reliable and currently working. There's a PO 101 pass that would be it's 57-degree pass. So that PO 101 though, not always reliable. Yeah, well, that's I've got a J-pole antenna on a mast right outside here that is my kind of general 2 meter, 70 centimeter antenna for just local repeaters and whatnot. And it, you know, if we had enough passes, I mean, there's one pass halfway through the hour. That's that PO 101 pass. It'd be great if I had, you know, like 2 or 3 passes in that hour where we could try to do something, but we could certainly add that PO 101 pass. It's like 30 minutes. Let me see where'd it go. I lost it. It was like 6:30 something. We could certainly give that a try as part of the stream. Oh, I lied. Is this Sunday? That's 7:30. So yeah, so I've got now, I could try this. Let me see what other linears. Let's see. So there is an AO7 pass that's right at the beginning of the hour, like 6:08. So we could try that, but I mean, that's the only pass. So I think that's something we can. I think that's something we can add to the topic list, but we're going to need more than that. So let's see. Frank got promoted. He got a 1 week promotion. No, actually, I think it's going to be. I think we're going to do this. I think it's a few weeks here in September. I think it's pretty much the month of September. Let's see. So we could certainly try to hit that. Let me see how that pass. Let me see how that pass is situated. So it's 55-degree pass. We could try that. I'll add that to the list. Okay, let's see what else we've got. Any other ideas out there? I heard a bird with a stock fang. Yeah, you can certainly hearing them is easier than being heard on an HT for sure. Colin, thanks for hanging out, buddy. It was nice to have you in the stream for a while. I appreciate it. Thank you. So one topic I've been thinking about, and I could do a little piece of it here in a stream, would be remote management of a Meshtastic node. I don't know if that's something you guys might be interested in. That's something that could be a fun topic. Let me write down that SAT pass. Let's see, I find the opposite. It's much easier to get heard than to hear the bird. We know that's because of all the people that keep transmitting and never. So I'm trying to see what you're saying there, Eric. You find that it's easier to get heard using an HT than it is to hear on an HT. Is that what you're saying? I understand what you're saying about the people that keep transmitting and never answer anybody. I think that might be a different problem or part of the problem. With any radio. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think when I'm trying to work with an HT, it seems like I don't have any I don't have any issue hearing on a rubber duck antenna. Seems like getting somebody to answer me, getting into the bird, having somebody hear me is more difficult. Strictly with a rubber duck, right? With an HT, 5 watts in a rubber duck. Okay, so I've got that as an idea. Yeah, using the arrow antenna, right? Will certainly put you in a better position. Yeah, I was just responding to the so who had the comment? I think it was Ziggy who had the comment of hearing a satellite with a rubber duck on a bow fang. So that's the other thing, right? You're probably not even getting your full 5 watts on that bow fang. See, I have a half-wave whip that I use on SO50. Yeah, that would be pretty good. Nice. Nice. I've got a dog who is staying up with me. He had a hip surgery here a couple of weeks back. He had a full hip replacement. Crazy. I have a dog with a titanium hip. I've got the $6 million dog. But I got this dog who's got had that hip replacement, and you have to, he's a blue heeler, first of all. So if you guys know anything about heelers, they're pretty high strung. So I've got this heeler that the vet says you got to keep them kind of immobilized. It's just kind of a funny concept at all. So you have to keep them in a crate, keep them, from moving around much, so that that thing heals. This dog he's everywhere. He's a maniac. Yeah, for sure, Eric. Yeah, you can forget about it with that HT. If you're trying to fight somebody who's throwing a lot of power, for sure. For sure. That's why I always try to advocate every chance I can, right, for people to use minimum amount of power. There's no reason to go for big power, right? I mean, you have to understand what the power is at your antenna. Certainly using something like a 9700 with 100 watts is fine if you're transmitting through 300 feet of cable and everything else, right? Because the amount of power that you're delivering to the antenna is just a fraction of that. But yeah, I don't think everybody thinks about it in that way. Don't most cubes only allow? So I never try to throw more. So I never set my radio for more than 15 watts at any CubeSat. Let's see. Okay, time for my eyes to close. Great stream. See you tomorrow. Hey, Paul. Thanks for hanging out for such a long time, man. It was great to have you on the stream. I appreciate it. Good to have you in the chat, buddy. Get some rest. So EOD, that's I never throw any more than 15 watts. if I've got a clear pass, I'll start with 5 watts. If I have, I also try not to operate during really common times, right? I try to operate on passes that are hopefully going to be less congested, right? I mean, SO50 right now can just be such a nightmare with so many people trying to get into it. Let's see. I'm pushing 9 watts and making it into the bird in geo. Nice. Yeah, there's no need to push it. You're absolutely right. And that's why I'm always such a big advocate, right? And that's kind of the first rule of radio that we all learn, right? Use the minimum power necessary to get the job done. I mean, that's like rule number 1. And there have been satellites that if you hit them with too much power, you'll shut them down, right? You'll knock them into a defensive mode, essentially. Let's see, even with 300 feet of LMR, 400, you're looking at, 30 watts and usually into that's still a lot of power. You're absolutely right. But that's, having a radio that can do 100 watts on 2 meters, having that, it's not so that you're throwing 100 watts at a satellite. That's not the purpose of it, right? It's giving you the opportunity to overcome some of those situations or some of those, some of those challenges you may have in your environment, right? I chose to put 300 feet of cable between me and my antenna because that was the best location for my antenna. Now, I certainly couldn't do that with, a 35 watt radio or a 10 watt radio, but I can do it with the 9700 and overcome those losses. But you still have to be responsible with it. CW on the linears is what I love to do. Also, probably why I have so few grids. Mike, that's really why I want to learn CW. Dude, I'm gonna have to reach out to you, and I need a practice buddy. I need somebody that can help push me to get over, some of that fear and fright. Yeah, you can certainly tell. You can kind of tell on like the ISS too, right? If you have somebody that's just dominating the repeater, right? You can kind of see that, hear that as well. Oh, that's cool. That's what I would have to do, Eric. I'd have to know, I'd have to know the complete protocol, and then I would practice it. Yeah. No, I know you're in transition there, Mike, and I know you've offered that before. That's why I mentioned it. I know that you offered that when we were enjoying some brown liquids, but I did remember it. I did not forget, and I'm sure you remember it as well. So, but I am going to take you up on that. Yeah, I would love to be able to do that. on the regular, right? Get proficient with that. And um, I think that'd be really cool. Right? It's kind of the next goal. Right? We always have to have goals in radio. We need something to push us, something that will help us learn something new, take that next step. Wow. Yeah, once you get settled, Mike, you've definitely got the hardware. You've definitely got the hardware. All right, what do we got here? 1220. Man, this is a great crew. I love this. This is awesome. Have to be at DFW early tomorrow. Bill, thanks for hanging out, man. I appreciate it. Bill was the first guy in the stream tonight. And sorry I didn't see your text until later, but I probably would not have been able to have run out to meet you tonight anyhow, just because I had some work to get ready for the stream here. But I'm super happy that you thought to reach out to me, and thanks for the gifts that you left behind. I'm going to go track those down. Have a good flight tomorrow, buddy. Wow. Yeah, that's getting into some of that EME stuff is so cool. Hey, we'll see you. We'll see you next time, Bill. We'll see you out there. I think that's Bill's phrase. I'm borrowing it, throwing it, boomeranging it right back at him. See, I can get 5.7 into Belgium at 100 watts. You definitely don't need more than 30 for. Yeah, I concur. I agree. All right, what else do you guys got? We still have 27 people hanging in there. You guys are awesome. I'm glad that I've found a late night crew here. This is cool. Yeah, we've had a good crowd holding steady here at around between 25 and 30, so that's awesome. Yeah, yeah. You're absolutely right. Eric, I've got a guy here in my local area that um he jokes. He says you know, he's going to do HF when he retires from real radio, when he retires from his microwave stuff. He doesn't do any HF today. He does you know, it's all 6 meters and up. But he jokes and says, "Yeah, I'll do HF when I retire." Yeah, this is what's a little scary about groups like AST that we talked about last week, right? Where these guys are making requests of some of the microwave and UHF frequency spaces. Um, you know, I'm not ready to dive into that with both feet yet, but boy, I sure want it to be available. I want it to be around whenever I'm ready for it, right? I don't want that to go away before I get there. Yeah, I still, I mean, I love talking to those guys that do a lot of that EME stuff. I mean, so much of their kit, for the most part, is still homebrew, and it's just so cool to have them walk through their rigs. I mean, it is definitely another level. Yeah, that would suck, Eric, for sure. Or, you know, rebuying that equipment, selling and trying to sell and rebuy that equipment. That would be awful. I don't know if you guys drink these, but I'm always impressed with how close their flavors are to the flavor that they're advertising. Like, this really does seem like you took one of those red, white, and blue popsicles, melted it down, and you're drinking it. It's got the exact same taste. Yeah, well, getting the transverters, that's, that's certainly key. That's, the other thing that'll be interesting is to see if ICOM continues to develop the 905 and all of the, various bands and all the equipment for that. It was good to see that they brought out some more antennas and horns for it. I mean, they've got to be selling some of that stuff to somebody. Somebody's buying that stuff. But that also kind of takes some of the romance out of building an EME station. I mean, these portable ones just blow my mind, right? These ones that these guys move and set up, they're just so cool. Makes you feel like you're just tinkering with radio compared to what these guys are doing. Yeah, there's definitely some limitations with it, but just the fact that they came out with that, I think, is pretty amazing. Yeah, 705 has really taken over the 818, 817 for the IF, for microwave. That is definitely the case. I think those guys are still holding on to those 818s and 817s though as their backup radios. I'm still not, it's not like, I thought at one point you might see kind of a flooding of the market where those guys are all swapping out their equipment for those 705s, but I think everyone's just holding on to them. Those are such great radios in their own right. Once you have it, it's kind of tough to get rid of it. That's kind of I have that trouble with just about any radio though. Yeah, I agree, Mike. It's like, um, looks like we're just, we're playing, right? That puts the playing and playing radio. Those guys are operating. They're on another level for sure. Yeah, speaking of roving, I saw somebody had posted, I probably won't be able to find it right now. I've got to find that though. I did earmark it. I saw somebody had posted their their grid heat map or their grid map, and they were needing Echo Mike 03, and that is right next to me. That's actually in a park, or there's a park in that grid, which is the closest park to me. It's about 20 minutes away. So I've got to find that that X post and reach out and see if that guy wants to do a sked, and see if I can get him that EM03. I've got him. I see that I'm his EM13. I've got him in my home grid already. Maybe I can get him EM03 too. If a Honda generator, nice. Yeah, that's a unique thing for sure. Good. The automation is working. That's perfect. There are a couple pretty rare grids. There's a couple. So there's actually one down near Galveston, down near Jason's place. That's fairly rare, and then there are some rare ones that are out in West Texas. Yeah, once you get out that way, it gets pretty desolate out there. Once you get out to Big Bend area and stuff, it's you're out in the middle of nowhere. But like I said, there's also one down there that's fairly rare down by Galveston. Some of those coastal grids can be tough to get to. Yeah, W5LUA. He's here in the Metroplex. I forget his name. He's the guy that actually um, was building a number of discrete components for some of these satellite or for some of these microwave guys. Yeah, it's pretty cool to see whenever you see their rigs, their homebrew rigs. He's got boards in there with his call sign etched in the board. DL88 on 6. Wow. Yeah, that's what I mean. Some of these coastals are they're rough. All right, Ziggy. Hey, thanks for stopping by, buddy. Good to see you. We'll see you hopefully on Sunday. Have a good weekend. I should probably check. Hey, we're still at 25 people, so if you guys are still doing all right, I'm okay. Can you get DL88 from the Mexico side? I'm not sure. That would be interesting. Let's see here. Oh, it's a major cartel quarter. Gotcha. Gotcha. Hey Jeffrey, thanks for joining. Welcome. We're talking about 6 meter grid squares. Well, just grid squares in general, but 6 meters is the topic right now. Trying to see if I can find that. I don't know who posted that. Oh, I'm going to have a hard time finding that, I think. Let's see. What do we got here? A lot of overlap in the rare ones. Yeah. Let's see. I'm just trying to find. Trying to find that X post. I can't find it though. Need a second call sign so I can rove in my van and then work myself. Nice. I like the strategy. I like the strategy. Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's it. All you need is a club call, right? Yeah, that should get it done. Mike, is there a website that publishes the 6 meter? Is there like a heat map for 6 meters? Let me see if I can find one. Let's see here. There, see if you can do it now, Mike. I think I just gave it to you. Well, it doesn't. I don't see the. Let's see. Well, it says you're listed as a moderator, so give it a try. if it's not letting you, go ahead and drop it in Discord and I'll grab it. That's weird. I've got you listed as a moderator, but oh, there it is. Oh, the link is too long. Yeah, if you want to drop it in the chat, I'll pull it up. Or not in the chat, but in Discord. That must take a little bit for that moderator to kick in. All right, let's see here. Let's this where you're sending me, Mike? There we go. Wow, look at all these zeros out there. Let's see, how are they doing this? This is zero. Yeah, most needed tab there. So zero means everybody's got those, and we're looking for. Let's see, we've got some reds out here. We got some reds, we got some oranges, got some yellows. Look at this FN66 out here. What is this, up in Maine? Out in God's country in Maine? Okay, so the percentages are the people who have confirmed 400 or more. Shadowworks, welcome. Thanks for joining the stream. We're talking about 6 meters. We're looking at the most needed grids for 6 meters right now. Yeah, so let's see here. So I'm thinking this EL28 is probably that same Galveston-ish grid square for satellites. I'm pretty sure that's EL28. Please remember to close the leaderboard. I'll have to remember to do that. So this is, yeah, pretty recent. My first time in 6 meters was at Huntsville. Oh, nice. On the HTs. Yeah, so these guys are pretty serious here. Mike, how many grids did you say you had? And you were talking, I'm trying to think, you said you were talking, which one did you get? Was it CM88? This guy out here? Wow, 435. Yeah, you're doing awesome, man. I have to look back up in chat. What was that grid you said that you got? That was the coup. I'm looking here, see if I can find it real quick. Okay, let me check the leaderboard here. Okay, what do we have here? It looks like we have a couple of different things. Sort by confirmed grids. Okay. Just looking down through here. Oh, look, here's Craig Thompson. He's a big contest guy too, right? That's the same guy. That's Craig. Brad Fuller, here's the guy in my local club here. This is the guy that says, yeah, I'll do HF when I retire. I just wanted to see those guys there. Okay, so then here, let's see. Where are you at, Mike? .435, a little bit further down. Boy, there's a bunch of guys just jammed up there. So you're at the point where it's hard. There you go. You're at the point where it's hard to get those next grids. Oh, DL88. Okay, top of the list of those that got it. Blue Rose are the ones. Yep. Yeah, but look at how many people are in this. So like 435. I mean, these are all just jam-packed in here. I don't think I probably don't know any of these folks here. I'm just going to do a quick scan. Do you know any of these guys, Mike? Yeah, very, very tough. Yeah, I can imagine. Last 20 or 30, yeah, those have got to be brutal. Yeah, this is cool, though. Very cool. Oh, you know a lot of them from Slack. Gotcha. Look, all these guys that are just one away. Oh my gosh, one away. Final grids needed. Let's see. Is there any commonality here? There's a couple. Well, CM93. A bunch of people need CM93. EL84. So CM93, where is that? CM93, that guy right there. That's the bugger right there, huh? thing is, once you get so close, the rovers go out of their way for you. Yeah. I mean, somebody could make a lot of friends if they could get themselves out there. Not unheard of for rovers to wait an extra day or two just to work someone who needs it. Yeah. Yeah, that's a solid for sure. No doubt about it. So that one's highly coveted. Now that's like, I don't see another purple one out there. That is the one that would make everybody so very happy. Let's see. What was the other one that we saw? EL 84. Couple there. EL 58 and 84. Let's see where those are. All right, let's see. Let's see. EL 84 right there. That's a bugger. What was the other one? 58 maybe? So that one there's got to be another one of those really low landmass ones. CM79's ridiculous, huh? Oh, yeah. Yeah. The upslope from the Pacific to a 3,000-foot crest. Jeez. Lordy. Lordy, lordy. Well, and these, I mean, what do most people use for their rig for rovers? Like, I'm curious, what's the typical 6-meter rover rig look like? Yeah, you've got some red out here for sure. Tough, tough, tough. This EO84 is probably out. It's probably like a sand barge out there. That's pretty cool, though. Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right. HF 6 rig with 400 watts. 5-element Yagi is standard. Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, that's cool. That's good stuff. It's pretty interesting how you've got kind of these pockets of dark green here too. So let's see. What is this? This is probably Arizona. DM, yeah. DM 62. Trying to think here where New Mexico comes in. Where this is probably Arizona over here. Boy, this is pretty solid. Interesting here too. Right, that line. That's interesting. And then you got DN78 up here. That one's just kind of fun to look at that and see where folks need contacts. It's pretty cool. All right, gang. Well, let's see. We dropped below the 25. We're into the low 20 range here now. That may be our cue. Hey, I had a heck of a lot of fun here, guys. Thanks for staying up and sticking around. Any other last thoughts before we try to wrap things up here? Northern Nevada and Southern Oregon. Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine those are tough too. All right, let me think here. Some things to remind folks of. Streaming again Sunday at 6 in Tank Radio's spot. Remember, Tank Radio will be in the Ham Radio 2.0 spot. Yeah, you bet, EOD. Cooley. 5-channel crystal controlled. Oh, that's pretty cool. So if you guys are around Sunday night, it'd be great to see you guys in the chat. I'll work up something and make sure we have some fun. Keep in mind Jason's project that he's got going on, right? That's a heck of a commitment there, right? 30 days of ham radio. I would not have realized how big of a deal that was, maybe even just 3 years ago, right? Just knowing how much work it is to get one video out, knowing that he's committed to getting a video out every day for 30 days. I think that's a great project. And of course, raising money for the Teachers Institute is a great cause. So, something for everyone to consider for sure. And then I think that is it. Again, I appreciate you guys hanging out, spending your evening with me. Cooley 73, and look forward to seeing everybody on Sunday. Hope you guys have a great weekend. And again, thanks so much for joining, and can't wait for the next one. We'll see you later, gang. 73.